on this episode of Potages.
Sora's like, do you want more? And she's like, I already have enough meatballs. Jeez, Mom.
Zach Manzewski says, exciting, surprising, saliva.
Loader Lionmon.
Wait, it's a Leomon that doesn't die.
What if it's, like, that's how they bring the 02 kids in. It's just like, oh, here's my girlfriend. It's Yoli. And we're like, what?
No!
I need your password. You can use mine to get on the internet.
Potages! Welcome to Potages, episode T 4.0. Sorry for your loss.
Try Chapter 4, Loss.
Recorded February 25th, 2017.
Potages is your critically nostalgic, analytical tour through the Digimon anime. I'm Jeff Ruberg, and I'm joined by my fellow meatballs, Ashley McDonald.
Super Bowls, they come and go, but Digimons are forever.
Asher Softman.
That's Ash's response. He's coughing.
You recognize him by his cough.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was it actually?
That's my actual response, yes.
And Andrew Softman.
Both Ash and I need a reboot ourselves.
It's true.
You have the infection.
I do.
We're infected.
This week, we're looking at Try Chapter 4, Loss. Wait, what was it? What? Why is Ashley laughing?
Laughing at how they're like, yeah, we're dying. And you're just like, this week we're looking at Lost.
This week, while we're dying. This week, we're looking at Try Chapter 4.
The kids readopt their amnesia babies and have a happy picnic, except for Sora, who gets a delinquent emo baby because she's on the poster for the movie.
After dealing with their babies going through puberty, the kids set up camp and Sora goes off to find perspective, but gets prospective suitors instead.
Oh my god.
Machine Dramon shows up, but the kids escape when he's blindsided by incoherent plot structure.
Absence makes the partner grow fonder as a jealous Mekumon splits the team up at random. Mako, whose presence in the digital world is as confusing as our villain's motivations, tries to pep talk Sora back into gear. Maki only notices the glaring flaw in her plan, but too late.
Joe tackles Anakin. Anakin force chokes Mako. Taichi and Yamato share a dream together after they drown at the bottom of the sea, and everyone learns that the key to unlocking ultimate evolutions is just to ask politely. So let's talk general impressions of this arc. Quick note before we get into it, we are going to keep discussion of the Chapter 5 poster, which has been not officially revealed, but people have taken screenshots or photos at the movie theater. We're not going to talk about that poster and what is on it and the name of the next movie and everything until one of the last couple segments where we discuss stuff in the future. In case you are the rare type of fan who, wants a thorough discussion of this movie, but nothing in the future and doesn't want any spoilers about future stuff, skip just that one segment. But anyway, so this movie. Does everyone else have a one-word reaction?
Sure.
I kind of said what mine was on the Flashcasts episode, and it's empty. I just feel like
empty.
There wasn't much to the movie. Like my gut impression was like, okay, I saw it. That there's not much to like mull over. Ashley, what's your reaction?
Yes, my reaction was meh.
I think your reaction last time was meh too.
Really? No.
Last movie
remember.
Was good.
Okay, I actually don't remember the last.
I'm gonna write these down
well.
so we know in the future. Jeff, empty. Ashley, meh. Asher, what is your one-word reaction?
Fun. I actually had a lot of fun watching this.
Whoa.
Oh, Asher,
like,
the
whoa,
one positive Digimon.
They're like, the pacing was a mess, but like, they're actually going places and not being awful people to each other anymore. I enjoyed it.
The Try characters weren't mean to each other, were they?
Well, I guess I'm still bitter about Yamato and Taichi in the first movie and how boring their confrontational whatever was. Just, I don't care. But like Biomon's whole thing with Sora, I actually found very it was a nice inversion of their struggles in adventure, and I was like, all right, so we're coming at it from this angle now. And
Okay,
I know
but,
it'll turn out okay, but...
It doesn't make sense because Biyomon is the only one that came out of the reboot with a different personality. And it's like, you just forced this on the narrative for no reason. Like, what?
I wasn't seeing that as a different personality, but like she had, cause remember in Adventure, the partner Digimon had all been waiting for a really long time. Like they knew they had partners, but like here comes these strangers to these in-training Digimon who haven't been prepared for this. And like, I actually liked that, Yokomon's reaction was reflected Sora's struggles. Cause I like thinking of the Digimon and the partners as connected in that way.
Right, yeah. I don't think it's a
Okay,
different personality that, like, in, like, past Yokomon had been given a mission, a directive, and was like, okay, with this mission directive, I know
Okay, that
to...
doesn't fix the inherent problem, which is the other 7 Digimon did not act severely differently.
No, I think, like, Ashley was describing, like, so Yokomon and Biyomon, whatever, in Adventure Episode 4, which is what this Sora's arc in this movie is, like, clearly mirroring the opposite way, was that Biyomon was very affectionate and Sora was like very put off by that affection. And she was like, right. And so that I think is like that what it's showing is that Yokomon it's what it's trying to tell, I think, is that Yokomon had that similar personality type where like someone coming at them out of the blue being like, I love you, that their reaction to that is, no, I'm put off by that, which is similar to how Sora reacted when Biyomon was this creature out of the blue.
Doesn't fix my problem with it.
That's why they're the one character who acted differently, because they're the one character who, when shown affection, is put off by it. Both of them are, Sora and Biyomon.
No, I don't believe that the other ones would just be the same if they were not given a mission directive.
Yeah, that's...
Well,
yeah,
I don't feel
yeah.
like they were. They weren't all the same. Some of them were, like Koromon was the same. But Tsunomon's reaction to Matt wasn't exactly the same.
Yes, Tsunomon was never that shy and blushy and stuff in the original.
I didn't feel like that was too much of a deviation.
Yeah, I mean, also, Plotmon, Salamon, Gatomon is, I mean, like, completely different because of obvious circumstances. No Myotismon abuse. But,
right.
Right. But that was the one other moment where Hikari was like, no, I like this. This is good. And I was like, okay, that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I know a lot of people like that moment and the acknowledgement, but, like, I feel like that was a weird kind of like tone deaf thing for Hikari to say, because it's like, you're the one person who's benefited from this and everyone else has suffered a lot, and like everyone, and she suffered too, but like you're the only one who actually got a tangible benefit out of it. And to be like, oh, but I think we should all agree to this because I got a benefit.
I disagree with you intensely, because all of the Digimon have now not been through the massive trauma of Adventure and Adventure 2.
I think it's weird to look at those as trauma.
I was actually really annoyed that Koshiro was showing them pictures, and I'm like, no, this is how you make trauma. What are you doing? Stop it.
Yeah. It's like, But, I mean, it looked like they were having fun, so whatever.
Wait, you thought showing the pictures would cause trauma? What?
Yeah, because, that
they
would
don't remember.
You'd be like, I really don't remember this, but you keep showing me these pictures, and it just creates, some
okay.
dissonance.
I don't know if that caused... I think that would be weird, and you'd be definitely like, please stop, this isn't me, stop acting like that's me. Like, you're not proving anything by showing me pictures. Like, sure, I believed that this happened to a different version of me, but that's not me. Stop pretending that's me by showing me pictures. I don't know if I'd call that trauma, but they should have been... I think they should have been put off by it. It was awkward they weren't.
Well, we don't know what Koshiro was saying at that time. Like, maybe they were asking him questions like, what are these people who are supposed to be our partners? What are they like? Because he was showing them pictures of their partners.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. I agreed with Yamato's reaction was like, I'm walking away.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Okay, I still think that was all really awkward. Anyway, we haven't finished. Andrew, what is your one-word reaction?
I mean, I enjoyed it, but...
I enjoyed it, but is not a word.
So I guess slow?
Okay.
Slow. I thought we should talk about what we disliked and what we liked, and I thought we should start with what we disliked and then get to liked so that we have a better final impression. People don't think that we ended up... Like, I think if we start with what we liked and we then go into what we didn't like, people will be like, they just hated it because they'll think of the stuff we didn't like at the end more.
I don't care.
I mean, we'll get to Sora's arc in more detail later, but that was one thing that stood out to me as I thought pretty disappointing. I guess, Ash, it sounds like you disagree.
Yeah, I liked this episode. Movie, whatever.
Well,
This thing.
and there was, I thought, a lot more poor animation than the third movie, at least. And I guess like similar levels to the first one.
I think part of my reaction to this is I remember very little of the third movie at this point.
Stuff happens.
That's definitely the one I remember the least too, but I guess, like you always say about expectations.
Remember the third movie the least. Why?
Yeah, actually, I'm not, it's more that I don't remember the specifics. Like, I tried to think about, like, the plot beats of each movie, and that's the one that I'm, like, I think because it didn't have the same, I think the first two movies have a structure that is similar to this one, where it's, like, stuff happens, a fight happens, stuff happens, and then a fight happens, is, I think, the structure that describes 1, 2, and 4, and not 3. So I was trying to remember what happens over the course of the 5 episodes of 3, and I'm like, there's so much, and it's not that simple, like, you know, rising action to a fight, and then falling action, and then rising action to a fight, and a movie. Anyway, it's definitely the one that I liked the most, but I couldn't remember specifics.
Well, I also don't remember liking it that much, but I don't remember my reaction to it.
Well, it was just everyone. I mean, there was just so much going on, and everyone had too many dark emotions in that movie.
It was too dark for Asher. He wouldn't like it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, but there was lots of poor animation in this movie. There was lots of awkward, like lengthy still frames that they were clearly trying to fill time with as little animation as possible.
But this movie was also like the shortest. Like each part was like 22 minutes, if that.
Yeah, while we talk, I'll keep looking up the runtimes because I mean, when it gets split up in episodes, it's always kind of like the last one was split up into 5 episodes, but it wasn't actually that much longer than the others. It was like 5 minutes longer.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
all
don't
like
believe you.
there are lots of variables you can play with. This movie in particular did a lot of replaying scenes from the previous episode at the beginning of the next one. Where was I looking that had a list of runtime? Anyway, I'll look it up later when I'm not talking. But yeah, I felt like it was the shortest and still had to pad a lot. And yeah, that's frustrating. And it's like, I mean, awkward animation, or like trying to make the most of, like using still frames to make the most of things. Like it's not like as soon as it's there, that means it's bad. It was like the fact that it was so noticeable, I thought, is the sign of it being employed poorly. Lots of awkward sequences are bound. I thought they were, like the stakes while they're fighting were so weird. I mean, first of all, Machine Dramon is just like obliterating them, like in the end of the second episode, and they're just like, is like, I don't know, like 30 seconds or 60 seconds of them just like the blast coming towards them, and it like takes forever for it to actually happen, and then once it does, it's just like, okay, they are magically saved by things that aren't really fully explained but are kind of implied to be Mako-mon/Mako, kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
And then
that was
when
the impression I got.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, this fight, it's like the dramatic weight is weird because you're like, okay, the attack's coming. Let's have like a couple of seconds of everyone reacting. And then also when they're fighting again, when they're like fighting for real against Machine Dramon and Metal Sea Dramon, they're like just doing such reckless stuff without any like concern for how dangerous it is. Like Tai and Matt, Daichi and Yamato swimming to distract Metal Sea Dramon. Like how? Yeah. Like it is so dangerous to get in the ocean with Metal Sea Dramon. Like what? Like that.
And then like Hikari's there too, and I'm like, are you even treading water? Like how are you floating right now? Like what? And it's also is like happening?
I don't know if it's like how cold the water, but like it was like water next to like frozen ice, so like glacial landscape. So like it should be freezing cold water. I mean, I guess like you could imply like digital world weirdness. Maybe it's like lukewarm water next to frozen stuff because digital world's weird or something. Maybe, but like. Yeah, just like awkward writing, awkward pacing, awkward animation, and
also, okay, according to IMDb, which does not have clearly stated run times for the second and third movie, but according to IMDb, the first movie is 1 hour and 36 minutes, and this fourth one is 1 hour and 22.
Hour and 36 is the first one?
Yes. And so the third one has to be longer than both of those.
Right. I mean, what I recall was only like 5 minutes longer than the first one, which would mean...
Okay, but there's a 14-minute difference between the first one and the fourth one.
So that means there's like a 20 or so or plus difference between 3 and 4, so that's pretty huge.
Right.
Ooh, this is a thing I'm sure we all loved. Genai licking Sora.
Yeah, it was my favorite moment.
Yeah.
My most disappointing thing is evil Jedi being not fun. I wanted him to be fun from the PV. I was like, oh
Yeah.
yes, this is gonna be so good. And then he was awful.
I mean, some of that funness that I implied from the trailer was like I'm so over the top evil, and I think this kind of like I will show how over the top evil I am by licking a female character.
That's super unnecessary.
Right. No, it reminded, like, honestly, I was like, okay, you are just a Sword Art Online weird evil villain man who, like, they don't know how to portray to be evil other than I like to rape women in weird, awkward situations.
Okay.
Ooh, that's fun.
I don't think it's like Sword Art Online was like literally that, like literal rape. Or not,
Okay,
maybe
I still don't know what Jedi was. I didn't go back to try to figure it out, but I don't know what he was trying to do to Sora before licking her. Because she was like, "What are you doing? Stop!" And I was like, "No, what is he doing?"
He's trying to get the Digivice.
Okay. It looks really inappropriate.
I just like the licking thing is like it's clearly rapey. It's clearly giving off those rapey vibes. Just like super gross. But I think that its goal there like was I think immediately preceding Genai's line of like Genai's line of like I'm not the same Genai or whatever. And I think what it's clearly trying to be there is like this isn't just like because they talked before like Hackmon talked about how like Genai has been like touched by the darkness or whatever. And so you're like, okay, maybe this is the same Genai we knew and loved, but has like different motives now, like has been a little bit corrupted or like just changed his...
Oh, just a little.
Right. But like, I think that scene is there to be like, no, he's super evil. And it's like, it's effective at that, but like only because it's such a cheap tactic. Like it's such a, you don't need to like do much writing to just be like, oh, they licked a female character, therefore they are the evilest thing. Like it's, yeah, it's a cheap way. And because it gives off those rapey vibes, it's just like, yeah, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, he's creepy with the at least Mako later. I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
I mean, he like kabedons her at some point. He like
kabedoning someone is not.
Yeah, okay, it is when you're Jedi. When you're this Jedi.
Yeah.
When you're not Matt.
Yeah, when you're not mad, it's not cute. Okay.
Well, so I'm just curious because we all get though like. Our reaction to it is to the Jedi licking thing is all like, ugh, no, this is bad. Please don't do this. But and I had the same reaction too. But I'm wondering like because I understand how rape as a storytelling, like literal rape as a storytelling, is super terrible and like is just a cheap tactic to and like doesn't acknowledge the
to make weak plot lines stronger.
Right. Yeah. And like is just a like it is a damaging thing to include in media that people don't consider those effects when they're making it because they're just like, like take the easiest route to portray someone as evil or whatever when it's used that way. It's not always used that way, but when it is, then anyway. But it's not like being licked by someone has those similar effects of triggering people and of... So I'm like wondering what is the fact that it like is reminiscent of rape the thing that makes it so terrible?
Yes.
Yeah, and like licking is like a pretty personal invasion of your space. Like,
I'm just like, I think it has to do more with the like tone of the work that it's in. Because if we were like, talking about Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones, which like regularly uses literal rape to portray evil people as evil, and if a character in Game of Thrones were to lick someone like this, we would be like, oh, they're just not being that terrible, like but in Digimon, this is like.
No, I think I would find it reprehensible in Game of Thrones too, which is why I don't watch it anymore.
If Ramsey licked somebody, I'd be like, yeah, Ramsey, you're gross.
Also, the fact that it is an adult man or someone in the shape of an adult man, holding down a teenage girl, we can't see his hand. He's clearly doing something to her that we cannot see. We assume he's looking for the Digivice, but it's still gross. He's licking her. That's so gross.
Yeah,
like,
the age thing.
There's just so many factors to this that it's like, what? Like this is what happened to you, Digimon.
Also, Japanese media is so bad about this all the time. Like, I'm not cutting Digimon any slack here.
Yeah.
Good point.
That was disgusting.
And like, the thing that was fun about Genai in the PV that I remember is that like, he was like in TK's face and he had like weird eyes and like, yeah, when he invaded TK space like that, it was like, okay, clearly you're weird and like that's uncomfortable. But he didn't like lick TK, like, you know.
And if he had, I would have found that just as gross.
Right, like
TK's in middle school.
It's even weirder because it's not like there was any buildup of Genai being weird and evil. It was like the opening act of him being this new evil way. You know, like it was like I'm tackling
It
you. I'm gonna
escalated so quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like, oh my
just
god,
like,
what?
whoa.
No.
You didn't need to go there. Like,
Also, are we really sure it's Genai? Like, okay, look, he's got Machine Dramon and Metal Sea Dramon, and we saw the Dark Masters at the beginning of the movie. Like, come on, guys. I don't trust this. I don't trust this setup. We know he can disguise himself.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, at this point, if they pulled that card and said it wasn't actually Genai, I would feel betrayed by the evidence given by the evidence given by Hackmon, which was Genai's been controlled. Like Genai is now working for Yggdrasil. He has been touched by darkness. And then to have
fair
someone
enough.
who is Genai, who looks like Genai, saying I'm working for Yggdrasil, and then be like, actually, it wasn't Genai. Like I'm like, It feels
Fair
like
at this point, that would be so many levels of like disguising who
which is
the
totally
actual bad guy.
now that I think about it, like, it is totally possible that it's just like, oh, surprise, I am Piedmon. Like, that's definitely possible. Sorry, Piedmon in Japanese. But I'd be really frustrated with that because it doesn't seem like smart misdirection. It just seems like lying to the viewer.
That seems like it would also open a new hole of like, no, but where's actual Genai? And like, there was no mention of the 02 kids other than the time where he disguised himself as the Digimon Emperor in this movie. And it's just like, no, there's only 2 more movies. What are you going to do with this crap?
Yes.
Like, what?
Yes, I mean, you started off by saying like, but that would cause another problem. And this, like, but the second thing you mentioned is a thing. Yeah, that was like, it's not a hypothetical like that. Yeah, the not mentioning the 02 kids is a big, still completely unaddressed. The more I think about it, the more I'm wondering, which is going to be like an afterthought in the last movie, like just to like wrap up the bow and then be like, okay, here's what was going on with them. Here is the like answer to your question, and we're going to barely feature them just to appease some people.
Okay.
Speaking of the Dark Masters, I really didn't like how they don't talk at all in either the flashback or in the present.
Right.
Because it makes them more like random episodic beasts. You know, like there's not much difference between Metal Seadramon in this movie and Seadramon in episode 3 of Adventure in terms of their personality, their like stakes. I feel like they actually beat Metal Seadramon in this easier than they beat Seadramon in episode 3 of Adventure. Like Seadramon actually, was attacking Matt pretty seriously.
I mean, Metal Seadramon should have been able to own these new.
Yeah, like in the water. Oh my god. But this is a problem that, like, looking back, I'm like, tries have this all the time. Like, it's a underlying thing that I didn't really. It's like Kuwagamon doesn't talk. The Kuwagamon they fight don't talk. Alphamon doesn't talk. Ogremon doesn't Ogremon doesn't talk. Ken in the second movie / Imperial Demon don't talk. Crackmon in the third movie doesn't talk. None of the things they fight talk. This is the first movie where, like, at least Genai talks. They don't directly fight him, but
I
like,
wish he didn't, though.
it's true. Okay, if he talks a lot and just doesn't lick people, that'd be good.
Yeah. You have to choose one. You either lick people or you talk. Which one is
we
it?
actually choose for you, and we choose that you talk and don't lick people.
Yeah, like...
Also, evolutions in this movie.
We're bad, yes.
I mean,
It was
Hey,
just all
Patamon,
at
you want to
once.
digivolve? Thumbs up. Like, literally what happened.
okay. So, there's so many levels. It's frustrating. It's frustrating on the level that, like, having these evolutions be so accessible is, I think, dramatically frustrating because we expect there to be weight from the reboot, and then it's just like removed, and it's like, oh, actually there isn't, and there could potentially later be a plot explanation for that. My headcanon or whatever is that the Digivolutions do require a connection between the kid and the partner, but the main driving force behind their ability and what level they can get up to is the kid's maturity, emotional maturity. So, like, that could explain why the Digimon being rebooted doesn't, like, that they could still reach those levels because the kids still are that same level of emotional maturity as long as the kid and Digimon have some kind of bond. But that's not explained by the movie. It might never be explained. Even if it does get explained later, not explained in this movie. So, like, I think people being like, what, is totally warranted. And on the other hand, I think it's the thing we were worried about, or at least I was worried about, was that they would meet Bakuman and Bakuman would just give them back the memories. Like, that would have removed the emotional weight of them losing the memories, which I guess I appreciate they haven't removed, that there is still consequence to that. I guess there's still potential for them to add it back later. And yeah, like Ashley, you were saying, though, like the Seraphimon being introduced. First of all, Seraphimon taking away light from Hoomon, from Biomon's Mega Evolution. Second of all, it being Seraphimon who like has been given like Magna Angemon defeated the biggest Dark Master basically on his own. Not on his own, like with help from everyone else, but like defeat like is supposed to be like as strong or stronger than the Mega Digimon, and it's just like his Mega Evolution is just introduced like, oh, can I go, TK? Sure, you can go. Okay, cool. Now like.
It's literally Sora gives him a thumbs up and then he does it. I'm like, what? Fine.
To be fair, they don't have any battle experience because of the reboot.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, so you're saying that like them asking for permission is
No,
plausible,
but them being weaker would make sense.
Oh, the things they're fighting. Or the Digimon.
The Digimon.
They would all have to be.
Yeah, but they also don't know their own strength. Like, who was it? Like, one of the rookies attacks Metal Siegemon.
Gabumon. What was that?
Oh,
Wait, there were lots of...
it was Salamon does something at some point.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Salamon did some crazy crap.
I was like,
she used
OP as heck!
puppy howling and it like stopped Machine Drum. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Super OP.
I think there are two instances, actually. Like, I think there's one where they're fighting
There's a bunch.
Metal Siegemon later, and I think he saves someone by, like, when Matt and Tai appear, when they reconnect with everyone. I think Gabumon... So, like, that's the thing. It's frustrating that, like, are the main Digimon weaker than before because they need like, 3-on-1 to beat Machine Dramon or 2-on-1 to beat Metal Siegemon? But then also...
There's so much evidence that they're so OP.
Right. But also the rookies are able to, like, not defeat them, but like they're able to fight back the Mega Digimon. Like,
Yeah,
so,
they're
like,
able to hurt them, which is surprising.
Right. And it's just like, whoa. I mean, I can understand the rookies being much stronger than they would expect them to be. You know, like that they're like I was describing, but maybe being connected to the kids' emotional maturity, whatever. That they're like, oh, we have a surprising amount of power, but not like defeat the strongest Digimon in the world powerful, not push back.
Well, I mean, none of them were that strong,
right?
But yeah, like they should not have been able to do what they did against those megas. It's pretty cool.
Also, like Seraphimon appearing as like an afterthought here. He's both an afterthought and an afterthought that removes focus from Hoomon. So it's like
that was annoying,
frustrating on both ends. Like he is shafted and he shafts someone else by being shafted. But also like I thought there'd be so much more weight to Seraphimon because he wasn't in the movie focused on TK Takaru and.
Yeah, no.
Like, remember when we first saw the poster for the third movie that included Patamon and not Seraphimon. You know, until that point we were like, okay, they're all going to get megas. And then we saw Patamon, not Seraphimon, and we're like, oh, okay, I guess Seraphimon and Ophanimon / Hologramon or whatever Gatamon's mega is going to be, those are special. Those are going to be like held until the very end or something, or maybe never appear. And then it's like, oh no, it's just here as a teaser. Like, I guess it's I don't know. They did prominently feature Seraphimon in ads for the movie in V-Jump at least. So I'm wondering if it was just like this decided after the third movie that like they needed something else to be like more marketing weight for this movie, so they threw that in because they could push it more.
Right. Isn't that exactly what makes it shafting of Hoomon? Is like everybody likes Seraphimon more.
Yeah. And it's especially shafting of like Sora's movie. If the like reasoning behind it was like we need something else to market this movie, let's add another Digivolution to this, like remove some of the focus on Sora so we can market it better.
That's not what I thought happened. I thought it was like we didn't get Seraphimon last episode, right? Or last movie when it was TK's movie. Like I thought they were like, oh yeah, well now we don't have a chance to do that, so I guess we should do it now.
But they have to like. They're gonna have to fight something that's bigger than this in the future. Like,
well, they've got Alphamon to deal with, don't they?
Well, it's unclear if Alphamon is good or bad.
I think. I mean, you know, I guess we'll talk about that. But I think Alphamon's pretty bad at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of like the like idea that all of these kids are able to get to these strong evolutions now as kind of like after 4 movies they're like kind of back in the flow and they have matured, so they are able to have a better arsenal when tackling things. But
yeah, I mean the main problem is that they're all handled so unceremoniously, right? Yeah. Like
it's so unceremonious.
It's like Seraphimon could have appeared if it was made into some sort of big deal, but it like wasn't. So
yeah. It's actually like in 403, which we recorded last weekend and haven't released yet, I went on a long spiel about how Seraphimon being defeated in Frontier is so frustrating because Seraphimon is hyped up as being such a big deal in the adventure canon. Because he's like never shown. And then I guess once he is, well, I mean, there's, Hurricane Touchdown, but aside from that, then once he is shown, it's also treated like almost less ceremoniously than Frontier.
Yeah.
Because he's just one of everyone else.
Even in Hurricane Touchdown, it's not like a ceremonious thing. It's like, yeah, it happens, and then we win.
I would actually argue it was literally ceremonious, because it was kind of like here's a ceremony to get the golden Digi-Eggs. That was all it was.
I guess, but then they don't, they evolve and then automatically disappear, right?
The last thing I wrote down as being a huge disappointing thing is just the ending, because the ending was like, okay, I guess that's the end. Like, a lot of people I saw on Twitter chatter, because Crunchyroll seemed to do a weird thing where, since they didn't announce when these were going up, I think some of the other Crunchyroll sites, like Crunchyroll, like Portugal and I think one other country, announced when they were going up, but like the US and English Crunchyroll account didn't announce. So like at 8 a.m. there was just like an automated tweet that was like, Digimon Try episode 14 is up. And people were like, what? Huh? Just this one? Because only that one went up. And then like, I think they put them up quickly enough so that if you started watching then, they were all up by the time you got to the next episode. But like, when people finished episode 4, they were like, is there a 5? Guys, is there a 5? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, because that's basically, the movie ends on such a note that like, people don't know if there's more or not. That is bad, I think. I think that's a pretty damning sign.
Well, I don't know. It's only with Mako that things are left questionable, right?
I mean, like, it's only a cliffhanger on like Mako's state, because Mekumon, like, oh no, Mekumon like is back in corrupted form. Like, okay, and like they're really mad. Okay, but yeah, I mean, like Mako gets like force choked to a point where they pass out, and that I guess you're supposed to think that maybe that means they're dead, but like that's definitely not going to happen. So. And just like looking back at chapter 3 handled the endings like it blew. I think it blew at least my expectations out of the way. I know a lot of people are blown away by it too, because like there were several points where it could have ended and been very satisfying, and it kept being like, no, here's a little bit more, and then you'd be like, okay, no, here's a little bit more, and like, whoa. And each one of those things I feel like surprised people and delayed them a bit more, whereas this one just ended with like none of that dramatic fanfare, just like what you expected to happen happens. Here it is.
Jedi's crazy.
Cause chapter 3 ended where like you're like, okay, they're not going to show them after they've like, it's going to stop when they get split up. Okay, no, we get a little bit of them in the real world afterward. Okay, it's going to stop when they get to when they leave for the Digiworld. No, we actually get a little bit of them in the Digiworld. We see Alphamon and Jessamon, and then we see them meeting their partners, and then we see Emperor revealing himself to be Emperor revealing himself to be Gennai, and Maki smiling. Like, that's 5 extra levels that they added that I shouldn't complain too much about, like, because it's like, okay, chapter 3 I thought was exceptional. Just not matching up to that shouldn't be like, whatever, should be on its own merit.
To be fair, I don't think any of these movies are like exceptional movies, but okay.
That's not fair. That's biased. You're biased.
Okay.
I'm based. You're biased.
What?
Things we liked. Maki's flashback / the opening sequence.
No.
No?
No.
I mean, I have a whole segment to talk about that more in depth, but you didn't like it?
At the end of it, I was like, what show? You can't just put cooler music than you normally use on things and do a style change and be like, I'm so deep. I'm the deepest.
I don't think it was going for this is so deep. I think if anything in Try went for that, it was the stuff at the beginning of the first movie and a little bit of the second movie, where it was like Demiurge, an ideal or idea, that kind of stuff was definitely going for a pretentious vibe.
Oh,
this is going
where's Demiurge?
This is going for like a plot. I've seen a lot of people describe it as fan fiction, just because it's like, I think it's the opposite. It's not the like, this is so a high-minded, pretentious thing. It's more of a like, this is something fans have wanted for a while. I think it's more of a, I don't know, catering, if anything.
Okay. I'm not complaining about its content. I'm being mad about how the content is presented.
Okay. We'll talk more about that. I like the adventure callbacks. Like, I mean, just generally Sora's arc being a mirror of her stuff. And the fact that it's Try chapter 4 and that stuff happened in episode 4, and the boat being relevant again, which I'm so mad at myself and all of us, actually, because when we saw the first PV, we were like, oh, a boat. I guess it's Kakachimon, the boat from the Kakachimon episode or something. And like, we all forgot about the boat from Sora's episode.
I still have no idea what you're talking about.
There was a boat in Sora's episode. It happened.
In like an empty lake, which I'm confused now because I'm like, how did it get in that empty lake? Like, I get that maybe the lake was empty because of Meramon being fiery, but like, that was just a lake. It wasn't the ocean.
What episode is this?
Episode 4. Biyomon gets firepower. Don't you think they evacuate the Yokomon onto a boat that's like kind of like
No.
it's like a Titanic. It's like pointing up like the Titanic in the sand, I think.
Nope.
I think it happens. Anyway, other locations, the Charlie Car, Primary Village. What was the castle where Mimi got sent? Was that supposed to be the castle from the Princess Mimi episode?
No. I think that was the ruins from the episode where she and Izzy...
That's what I
No.
thought it was too.
I think so.
Those ruins were like, I thought like more like Mayan pyramid stuff, not, that definitely looked Japanese.
I mean, I don't remember now. We didn't have enough time to, like, research this.
I agree with you, Jeff, that it didn't look right, but I felt like it was going for the feel of the Ruin episode more.
Yeah.
Especially by pairing her with Tentomon.
That's true. That does seem more like that. But I think by the time we actually release this episode, we'll probably have screenshots and you'll be able to see in our show notes or something. But for now, we can't really easily refer to it because we're recording this quickly. But as I recall, it also had like it was like 2 different structures, and there was water between them, which I'm like, that definitely happened in the Princess Mimi episode. But also, I don't understand why she would be if it were Princess Mimi's castle or whatever, like why she'd be the only one sent outside of File Island.
Yeah, that's why it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also
her reaction
wouldn't understand her. Yeah, her reaction was like, oh no, not this again.
I mean, her reaction, I think, makes sense. It's a different reading but I think being like, if she considers that her like low point of being like, I overcame this where I was super selfish or whatever, to then be like, oh no, you sent me here again. Like, I didn't want to think about this place or something. That I think is possible.
I guess.
I really liked when Mochimon like compliments Koshiro for knowing lots of stuff, and Koshiro is like repeats the line that Tentomon told him about like, well, there's lots I don't know. That's why I want to know things. That's why I want to learn things, is to fill in those gaps. I'm like, oh.
I liked Koshiro's rant about oolong tea. It was great.
That was great. That rant was great because like, since he only, I think in like chapter 3 briefly mentioned it, just like said something like liking oolong tea or something, and it's like, it's a running gag because in the Adventure movie, like the part that in English is supposed to be about like him drinking weird stuff that Ty's mom concocted that makes him go to the bathroom. Or I think we're supposed to imply that like it's making him throw up, right? In the movie. But in Japanese, it's just oolong tea. It's just he drank a lot of tea and had to pee. But so like, and so there's that running gag, and like that's why he's always shown drinking oolong tea. But when we were in Japan last November, and ever like I had a choice between drinks, I was like, which kind of tea should I get? I should get the oolong tea because that's the Izzy drink, the Koshiro drink. And every time I was like, I don't understand. This doesn't taste that good. Why do you like it so much, Koshiro? But I still was like, I'm gonna keep trying it.
He explains it to you.
He does.
The fatty acids will save you or something.
Well, he said that it pairs better with like fatty and oily things. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Yes. I just think in general, all the interactions, like that first episode, I thought was the best. Like all the interactions with the baby Digimon were great. Probably too many to list, but actually, can you do the Tanemon voice saying Tabanaide?
Oh, it's just so screamy. Tabanaide!
That was pretty good.
I liked Mochimon's responses to Koshiro's oolong tea rants. Like, if you don't eat your food, then Tokomon's gonna eat it.
No, I like before that where he's just like, I understand that you like this a lot. I understand.
Yeah. Please shut up, though.
It wasn't like, it wasn't like I understand what you're talking about. It's like, I understand you like it a lot. That's what you're trying to prove, right? Like,
I understand the base.
Also, oh my god, Yokomon eating meatballs with a little toothpick. It was so adorable. It makes no sense because like how was her little like tentacles holding a toothpick? But it looked adorable.
Who? Wait.
Yokomon? Biyomon's baby in training form. And she's just like eating meatballs off to the side, and Sora's like, do you want more? And she's like, I already have enough meatballs. Jeez, Mom. Joe was great. I've seen actually some people say that
Joe's
like
always great.
I've seen some people say that Joe's changed a lot. I mean, first of all, there's stuff where he's just like talking about survival and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's back to Joe." But then there's a later stuff where he tackles Jedi and catches Sora, and I've seen people be like, "Oh my God, Joe's changed so much." Like, remember back in Adventure where he was so different? But I'm like, in an Adventure,
not
in his
different.
episode, he jumps on Unimon. Like, I think he's always had that side to him.
He has. He's great. He'll jump into anything to save anybody. Remember when he jumped in the lake to save TK?
No.
He did.
You mean in Odaiba? Because that's the ocean.
Whatever.
Or it's the bay.
Well, didn't he also
that.
jump in the lake when in the egg guy episode? I'm dead inside today.
Inside.
I don't remember there being lake. I remember there being a lake there. I don't think they get in it in that episode.
I think he did. Whatever. I could very well be wrong.
In Astra's headcanon, Joe just jumps into everything.
Well, I'm probably not that wrong.
I liked that moment because Joe was so useless. That was funny.
Which woman? What?
Him attacking Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
You creepy man, what if I attack you? What if I licked you? And he should have licked Jedi. That was great.
Who knows where he's been?
Who knows where he's been? It's true.
I'll add that to Shipping Corner.
No! No.
Oh, boy. I didn't think it actually, there wasn't that much that it played out, that it actually resulted in, but I kind of liked the dynamics of the kids being scattered with like, it wasn't actually random, but like with different Digimon, since we so rarely see the interactions between kids and not their partner Digimon.
Yeah, but then
I have more to say about this.
it.
Yeah. We have a topic about this.
I mean, I don't know, it didn't like add much to the movie, but just to like the discourse around Digimon, the like explicit confirmation that Digimon who die in the real world, who die in the human world, die for
I was
real.
not expecting that to happen.
Yeah, that was
I was like,
weird.
wow.
That felt, I actually really didn't like it in context, because then Jedi says like, I forget how he words it, at least how the subtitles word it. Oh, it says like, that's where a reboot comes in, to explain that like a reboot would reset those deaths. But like, that is not why the reboot was put into place at all, unless it's all being driven by Myotismon, because I guess that's possible at this point
God.
too.
No, I
Again?
thought the implication was that, like, it was for Maki to get Tapirmon, because for whatever reason.
Yes. And
Yes.
Tapirmon did not die in the real world,
Yeah.
is my point. That like, Jedi phrases
Right.
it as like the reboot was put into place to save the Digimon who died in the human world. But everything we've been shown was that it was, at least Maki's motivations were to save this one Digimon who was sacrificed in this random way, which apparently bypasses reincarnation randomly with no explanation of why. But the thing is, I think also the reboot was not driven by Maki. It seems like she was just a part, like she just helped it come into play, but Yggdrasil or whatever was a more driving force. So
Yeah.
like, I can see how from Genai's perspective, he's like, maybe that was they did it. But like the Digimon that were lost in the real world, like there have been so few Digimon lost in the human world that until this point, there wasn't a definitive answer. And a lot of people say it's definitive, that of course they don't come back. But like the examples we had were Myotismon, Wizardmon, Pumpkinmon, and Goatsumon. And I guess a bunch of the Digimon that were enemies that they fought in the real world. But those are the good people who could possibly come back and be friendly with them. And Myotismon.
Well, you mentioned Myotismon in
yeah.
that list. I just want you to know that.
But Pumpkinmon and Goatsumon were enough of side characters that it didn't feel out of place for Zero Two to not mention them. Like Zero Two, they never go back to Leomon. There's so many characters that like they should see again in Zero Two that Pumpkinmon and Goatsumon could just be one of those. And Wizardmon and Myotismon are both like magical. Like I don't think it's supposed to be implied that it's normal for Digimon to appear as ghosts in the human world. Somehow Wizardmon does that.
Wizardmon's not normally a Digimon sort of
Right,
thing.
he's like also from a different franchise, so like there's few examples we had were so far in between that it's weird like to ever think that like that was the reason the reboot happened, was to save Myotismon and Wizardmon. That I don't buy.
Yeah.
And actually no, I think the main reason the reboot, as spelled out by Jedi, was that I think he wanted to reset the Digimon having such influence from the humans having such influence on the Digimon. So like reboot homeostasis plan. Anyway, yeah. Any other things that people liked or didn't like?
I mean, I feel like when I watched it, I was like, this is fairly pleasant. But like looking at it from any critical point of view, I'm like, yeah, it was garbage. It's bad.
Like I think what left me with a pleasant thing was that after I watched it, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to make anything out of it. I'm not going to make any topic. I'm just going to go and enjoy that. Yeah,
just gonna go with the flow.
So Ash, since your main impression was that you liked it, was there anything aside from the licking that stands out to you as really disliking? Or what did you dislike most aside from the licking?
Why are you souring my... Why are you harshing my buzz, man?
Harshing your buzz? What?
That's a thing. Jeez. Oh, well, I didn't like the end. Cliffhangers are so unnecessary. We're gonna watch it anyway. I mean, I thought the pacing was poor, and the motivations are confusing still. But, and I didn't like that, Sora's Digimon could not finish off the thing. I was like, come on. You spent this whole movie on her.
They didn't even give it really a chance. Like,
yeah.
Well, on the other hand, we do often argue that it's silly for them to send one Digimon and then be like...
but this is like... No, because normally we argue it like when it's like, all right, clearly you are losing, like you knew that going in, but they don't know it this time.
Yeah,
they know
and
nothing.
like it's obnoxious when like, oh, this character hasn't had a chance to shine. Let's not let her have it.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like that's what's overall frustrating. Like the things that I like about this movie are simultaneously the things where I'm like, no, but it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like the fact that like in the way that we were talking about, perhaps Seraphimon was needed to better market the movie. Like, I feel like all the love triangle stuff was just in there as, like, a marketing ploy, and then it takes away from Sora actually being that important in her own movie. And it's like... And it's like, look, if you wanted to give Sora her own movie, then, like, give Sora her own movie, or, like, don't pretend that it's Sora's movie. Those were my frustrations. Yeah.
Welcome to Close to Clash, our relatively new Family Feud Fast Money style game show segment, legally distinct from Family Feud. We are not lawyers. This is not true legally.
Don't sue us.
Don't say we're not lawyers.
I said don't sue us.
Oh, yeah, don't sue us either. So what we do is we asked our listeners on social media 11 questions, and now we are going to have teams, the East Coast versus the West Coast, answering these questions in 60 seconds? I think it's 60 seconds. Yeah, so we're going to start off with the East Coast, Andrew representing the East Coast. So Ashley is going to mute herself, or
I'm going away now.
Mute her headphones.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.
So the first 6 questions, the answers are the 8 original Chosen Children plus Mako. So the 9 Chosen Children in these movies. And the last 5 questions, questions 7 through 11, the answers for the second set of questions are I wanted to write them down as the other characters, the villains that we'd seen up until that point. Because the survey was filled out before most people saw Chapter 4. So the villains were Alphamon, villain-ish possibly characters were Alphamon, Daigo, Maki, Megamon,
His
and
shoes are a crime.
Fair enough.
I mean, I included Daigo and Maki because both of them were like, who knows what their status is, kind of. So, okay. I'll pause once you get to question 7 to remind you who the possible candidates are. So, okay, I'll start timing once I finish asking the first question. Who has the biggest secret crush on Taichi?
Matt.
Who is the most excited for Attack on Titan Season 2?
TK.
Who would get the most upset if they saw spoilers for Chapter 4?
Mimi.
Who would have the biggest Pokemon Go Pokedex?
TK.
Who has the least concern for the 02 kids?
Mako.
Who has already completely forgotten that Leomon died again? 20 seconds left.
Mako.
Okay, I'm pausing to remind you that the next 5 questions. The possible answers are Alphamon, Daigo, Maki, Mekomon, and Evil Genai. And you should probably have that image open while I'm asking them, just to remind you. Okay, I'll let the time flow again once I finish asking this first question. You have 16 seconds left at this point. Who would buy the most Girl Scout cookies?
Maki.
Who would be the
Daigo.
worst? Who would be the worst U.S. president?
Alphamon.
Who is the most
Jeff.
trustworthy?
Daigo.
Who is the least trustworthy? 3 seconds.
Genai.
Who is the... Okay, I guess we'll count this one because I started asking the question. Who is the worst at brushing their teeth regularly?
Daigo.
Are we accepting his changed answer for worst U.S. president? He didn't get it out.
The thing is, he didn't get it out, but we knew what he was going to say, right?
I started hearing what he was about to say.
I don't think we should count it, and we might not count the last answer.
All right, so I'll leave it as is. All right. Andrew, you're a fool.
I'm sure.
For which one?
Who would have the biggest Pokemon Go Pokedex?
Oh, yeah.
I started typing the correct answer, and you were wrong.
I saw you type that. I was like, huh? Okay.
Foolish mortal.
Okay, I'll get Ashley.
This was a mistake.
You were a mistake. Who do you think has the biggest Pokemon
I brainstormed these while waiting at the dentist, like while getting my teeth cleaned.
I see.
Definitely, Jeff.
I am the definition now.
Okay.
Okay, so the way this is going to work, the first 6 questions are are all of the chosen children in these movies. So then the 9 kids. Yeah, click both of the answers things and have them open, and then you can like switch tabs once we get to the second set.
Oh, that second set.
And so the first set is the 9 kids. The second set is I described as other characters, but it's really the like other players that could potentially be bad. They're not all necessarily bad, but they do kind of line up that way.
Wow, Daigo's offended.
It was unclear. It was unclear until this movie. And just a reminder, most of the people answered this without having seen Chapter 4. There were apparently 25% of people who responded had already seen Chapter 4 when they responded.
Also, Ashley, you have a chance.
Andrew, I always have a chance.
The thing is, the scores for this are generally lower because there are so many options. So each one has fewer for the first 6 at least. And what I'm also going to do is pause after the 6th one and then repeat who the choices are. And you should also probably just like switch tabs so you're looking at the choices then. But that'll give you some extra time. Okay, so I'm going to start. And since I don't have the time, you don't have the music, but I'll try and remind you when. Who has the biggest secret crush on Taichi?
Takeru.
Who is the most excited for Attack on Titan Season 2?
Taichi.
Who would get the most upset if they saw spoilers for Chapter 4?
Mimi?
Who would have the biggest Pokemon Go Pokedex?
Koshiro.
Who has the least concern for the 02 kids? 27 seconds.
Mako.
Who has already completely forgotten that Leomon died again?
Joe? I don't know. Who cares?
Okay. You have 14 seconds left on the clock. And the next 5 questions, the possible answers are Alphamon, Daigo, Maki.
Okay, can I just answer them in this order? Like, don't even ask them to me. No, I can't. You're not going to be able to ask the questions in 14 seconds and have me give an answer.
Andrew
have more of a chance.
Andrew got all of them in 17 seconds, actually. And also, so the changes, I'm going to read the question. So, like, you automatically have time for the first one. And as long as I start, whatever question I start reading, you'll get to answer before the time goes out. So you do still have a chance to answer several questions. Anyway, the possible answers are Alphamon, Daigo, Maki, Mekomon, and Genai / Evil Genai. Okay. Who would buy the most Girl Scout cookies?
Mekumon.
Who would be the worst U.S. president?
Genai.
Who is the most trustworthy?
Daigo.
Who is the least trustworthy?
Maki.
Who is the worst at brushing their teeth regularly?
Alphamon. See, the thing that I didn't... you gave this question before, but you didn't say who the answers would be, so this was not the answer set I was preparing that for.
Right, that's why I felt okay revealing a question before without telling you what the answer set was. Are you saying you actually prepared an answer? You thought of who would brush your teeth?
Well, I don't remember what my yeah, but I had thought of it.
Yeah, I wanted to tease something, but
Also, see, I don't like questions like who has the biggest secret crush on Taichi because my mind is like, it's not secret that Yamato has a crush on him, so I'm not going to say Yamato.
True facts.
But the thing is that, like, sure, that's complicated to think about, but like people filling out the survey had to go through a similar thought process. So you're trying to match the listeners.
No, but then you all make fun of me because I didn't say Yamato.
Well, only Ash made an audible grunt or whatever.
Well, I was more surprised that Takaru came up. Like, there are other answers.
Yeah, there are like hetero ships too.
Yeah, no, they don't care. One of them is his sister.
One of them is sister. Well, that one you don't need to mention. Oh, that was actually I mentioned this in Slack. Actually, I was like, there is an answer that people have chosen, and I'm disgusted by.
Oh, is it that?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my god!
What I want to know is if she got more votes than Takaru.
Yeah, this Takaru gets 0 votes.
No, Takaru got.
No, Takaru got some votes.
Okay, it's the first one. We can start off that way. So Andrew said Yamato, and Ashley said Takaru. Yamato had 37%, and Takaru had 11%. The lowest was Sora with 3.7%.
Oh.
Wow!
I mean, because that's not secret.
Well, right, but see, okay.
It's just based on what listeners think of the answer. So yeah, Yamato had the highest. Second highest was Mako, and third highest was
Mako was
Koshiro. Oh, Koshiro. Oh, that's cute.
Oh yeah, that's actually a really popular ship.
And 7% of people are filthy.
So more than one person put Hikari.
Yeah.
Oh,
Although fewer people than put Takaru, apparently.
Oh wait, sorry. Am I?
well, that's fine. Jeff's like, wait, actually, Takaru has no votes.
Actually, everyone picked Hikari. Everyone is a incest shipper.
All right.
So the second question, who is the most excited for Attack on Titan Season 2? Andrew said Takaru with 11. Ashley said Taichi with 26. Yeah, I think people, I guess, thought that Taichi was the more mainstream anime taste character.
I was like, I don't care. I'm just gonna pick Taichi.
The number one answer was Taichi. Sorry. Actually, a tie. Number one and number two, sorry. Taichi and Koshiro tied with 26. And then everyone else was around 11
Koshiro is
7.
my second answer.
Yeah. Who would get the most upset if they saw spoilers for Chapter 4? Andrew said Mimi with 19, and Ashley also said Mimi, and that is the highest answer. Yeah.
Weird.
I guess people, I don't know, I sometimes feel like Try's target demographic is Fujoshi, and Mimi is the most Fujoshi.
Who would get the most upset? I just didn't care, and then I was like, I'm just going to pick a stereotypical answer and say a girl. And I said Mimi. That was my thought process.
I feel like it's actually more likely that, like,
well, I actually
bros
was
would...
like, okay, the movie's about Sora. So, like, then I...
Oh.
Yeah, but tied for second place was Joe, Mako, and Taichi. I think it was just... That was one of the most scattered ones. Like, it's just... Everyone voted for
there's
random
not
things.
really, like, a clear...
Yeah, there's no... Although, I thought of plenty of questions that had too clear of answers. Like, whenever there was a really clear answer, that was like, well, everyone's going to choose this. I was like, nope, not doing that question. Because then it's not fun anymore. Who would have the biggest Pokemon Go Pokedex? Andrew said Takaru. Ashley said Koshiro. And...
Oh, that's...
Yes!
Yeah, you're dumb, Andrew.
Koshiro.
So Ashley
I'm
missed
sorry
it,
for having a cold.
So Asher actually already filled, like, while taking the notes, already filled in Koshiro for Andrew, and then Andrew didn't answer that way. Like, wow, you messed up. The next question, who has the least concern for 0-2 kids? Andrew said Mako. You both said Mako, and that is by far the number one. Number two is Taichi. Aw.
Wow.
It's true, though. Like, especially Taichi's spiel about, like, Mako is one of us. We need to say, like, oh, but there are 3 more of you that...
4.
Okay. 4, yeah, 4. Wait, 4? 4, yeah, 4. Who has already completely forgotten that Leomon died again? Andrew said Mako, 15. Ashley said Joe with 7. The number one answer was, colors are hard to read, was Takaru. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that seems...
Yeah.
This question was another one where I was like, I literally don't care.
Yeah, I wonder
Just
why
say
people
a
guessed...
name.
I guess people were just like, well, I've been through that. Psh, I don't care.
I guess.
Oh, I guess Leomon was someone they saved with the reboot, because he would have died in the real world.
He didn't die in the real world,
wait,
did he?
what is this Girl
No,
Scout
didn't he
quiz?
die in, like, Primary Village?
Ash, in Try.
Oh.
So we all
apparently
already forgot.
I'm the one who forgot that Leomon died again.
Actually, I honestly did too. I was like, what is this referring to? Whatever. I don't care.
Oh, jeez.
That's why they rebooted the world. To get
It's all so we can see Leomon die again.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I get it.
Okay. Who would buy the most? So now moving on to the other characters. Who would buy the most Girl Scouts cookies? Andrew said Daigo with 63. Wow, that's pretty big majority.
I don't know how Andrew didn't win just getting that. I don't know why everybody picked Daigo, but I mean, I guess that makes
Because
sense.
he's the guy with the donuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what I was thinking. Yeah, okay.
What were you going to say?
I actually put Makomon with 15.
Yeah, I put Makomon because she's the one who's always like, I want food, and tries to like beg off of it and stuff.
Well, that was the second highest answer.
Yeah.
Who would be the worst U.S. president? Andrew picked Alphamon with server says 4. So
Yeah,
That's how
then
this happened.
I tried changing my answer too late.
oh yeah. And Ashley said the highest answer which was Genai. Which the thing is, most people answer this before seeing this movie. So
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I mean, we already have the Genai from this movie as president. So Makomon was number 2 with 30. Yeah, I don't think Makomon would make a good president. I mean, have you seen Makomon's emails? Anyway,
The emails.
but the emails. Who is the most trustworthy? And again, this is before this movie. Most people answer before this movie. Andrew said Daigo. Ashley said, you both said Daigo. And that was number 1. Number 2 was Alphamon, which I really don't think Alphamon is trustworthy anymore. Like, it seemed like what he was doing was trying to seize Makomon, which is what Yggdrasil's stated plan is, and what Genai was trying to do. So I don't think he was trying to root out or destroy Makomon. Anyway, who is the least trustworthy? Andrew said Genai. Ashley said Maki. Genai is 26. Maki was 63.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess, Andrew, were you thinking post this movie, Genai?
Yes.
Yeah, that explains it. Those were the top 2 answers. But
Maki didn't redeem herself in this movie. I don't know.
but like, I think it's just like our impression of Genai has soured so much that
Sure.
right, they're both
To be
equally
fair,
as untrustworthy.
for the other question, I was thinking post Genai, forgetting that people, like the one where I got a ton of points, him being the worst U.S. president.
Yeah.
I forgot to consider that most people had not watched this movie. It worked out for me.
who is the worst at brushing their teeth regularly? Andrew said Daigo with 22. Ashley said Alphamon with 41, which is the
But
highest.
Alphamon doesn't have teeth.
That's why.
He'd be pretty bad at it.
Andrew.
He wouldn't do it
That's
pretty regularly.
The joke.
But he doesn't have teeth, so
Yeah,
he
see-
can't even brush them.
See, this is
the
this is a really hard game because, like, yeah, I don't like. I think actually we were saying that being a joke is funny, but I don't know if most people would agree. But apparently they did. So
Worked out for me. I won
yeah, it's
for
hard
once.
to guess who. So Ashley won for West Coast won for once.
One
Yeah,
for
but
once.
at least I'm still within 100 points.
Okay. I don't have. Is there a time where I got trounced by more than 100 points? Like, I don't know.
I think it was like the second time. Or the first, I forget.
Okay, so Maki's flashbacks. In this segment, I want to talk about mostly the opening silent film style. I guess you call it flashback. That whole thing, but also a couple other segments and kind of Maki's scenes in general in this movie.
This movie is an evil version of Erased.
I guess. So first off, I thought the opening having the silent film style
Aesthetic.
thing. What, my two thoughts are I really liked how it opened the movie. I really like placing it there, and I really thought, especially since like coming from chapter 3, my expectations weren't that high, but like I was riding really. I was like, oh my god, this is so great. And then going into this movie, I didn't expect it to be great, but I think this opening scene made me think it would be. I was like, oh my god, they're actually going here. Oh my god, like this is. Oh my god, this is like, fans have been wanting.
That was pretty cool.
Fans have been wanting answers to these questions for so long, and a lot of this had been predicted by fans for a while. But to see it actually going to those places is like, and I'm sure there are plenty of other fans who weren't even still thinking about those questions, the question of the original kids and where the sovereigns came from and everything. But rewarding it for the fans who did think of it, I thought was really great. But yeah, the silent film aesthetic,
It could have done without it, to be honest. it didn't really need it.
Yeah, and clearly what it was going for is like, this happened in the past. It seems a little unnecessary to imply things happened in the past because it's like, it would have been clear with just like grayscale would have implied that. I mean,
Daigo is a child now. What
Yeah.
do you mean? It's not.
Maki looks like she walked out of Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, she just looked like a mixture of Kairi and Kari, basically. But where did I write this down in my notes? I guess I didn't actually write down. Like, I feel like I had a weird reaction. I'm wondering if any listeners or any of you guys had the same reaction, which was like, I feel like I don't ever see silent film, this kind of silent film aesthetic and style, especially in other things, as like a random diversion, unless it's being used for comedic purposes. And so that left me with a weird, my first watching, when I watched it again to take notes, I didn't really get this impression because I knew what to expect. But the first watching, I was a little bit like, it's like using the visual and audio language that makes me think it's setting up jokes, but it's with a super serious flashback. And then when I looked at it more, I'm like, it's not actually setting up jokes or anything. It's not using like comedic music or anything like that. It's just like the visual aesthetic of like the silent film style makes me think that a joke isn't coming. And that's probably weird to me. No one else got that impression, right?
No. And I feel like you would need to give me a solid example of what you even mean for me to buy that at all.
Yeah, you don't have a solid example. So anyway, it's also weird because like it's silent film, but then there is a narration eventually. Like I can't remember what point it turns, but
like Maki talking is allowed.
No, I guess it's like the events happening in universe are silent film, and then there's a narration on top of it that is not happening in the moment. I forget if I actually talked about it or not, but like Daigo's name is like structured just like all the other. No, it's structured like the first two Goggleheads, and like it uses the same kanji. It's like duh something. And so
it
uses the same kanji as Daisuke's name, basically, and is similar to Taichi's name. And so I was always kind of like, he seems goggleheadish, but like I totally got off track from that because he seemed to be taking such a backseat role compared to Maki. And it's interesting to look back on that now and be like, oh, he totally was the gogglehead, like literally had goggles in the flashback. And I think a lot of people miss that, but like there's goggles he's not wearing them, but they're like on the ground, scattered like in one of the shots where he and Maki are on the ground. I have it somewhere. I guess it's like, it could be that Maki is the gogglehead based on this screenshot.
That would be way cooler.
That is my one hope for. Sorry, I'm finding a screenshot because like people expect it to be him, right? But yeah, so I think predictions like if someone had been like because I initially argued that I thought he would be a previous generation gogglehead, but then I dropped it. But if someone had been like campaigning for that for a while, I'd be like, oh yeah, that totally did pan out. But like, I don't know if we had any evidence for Maki being a original kid before. Everyone was kind of just guessing in the dark. I also like how the image of his goggles being off reflects the role that he has in not being very leader-like.
You don't know that they're his goggles.
Yeah, it's true. It might not be his goggles. Also, okay, so the 5 Digimon that we see, Maki obviously has Bakuman / Tapirmon, and we see them, I guess, in champion forms?
No, Mega.
Ultimate. Wait, no, they're not. They're ultimate. So it's Megadramon, Loader Lionmon.
Wait, it's a Leomon that doesn't die.
Yeah, but so Daigo
but
has
gets rebooted.
Daigo has Loader Lionmon. There's a chubby kid who has Hippogriffomon, a girl that looks kind of like Mako, who has Orochimon, which I'm like, what? Orochimon? What?
Yeah.
Of all
they're
Digimon
all
to pull
mythical.
from.
They're supposed to be all mythical things, I guess.
Yeah, they're Genbu.
But like Orochimon is never a positive thing.
In that one thing with the milkshakes.
Wait, what? In the one thing with the milkshakes, isn't Orochi always evil?
Not necessarily? Question mark?
I'm pretty sure there's like a single myth about Orochi.
Yeah, I think he is always evil.
Yeah, and
the point is that he evolved into the turtle one in this?
Yeah. So so that's the only one that's shown for sure, that Orochimon evolves into Iban Wumon.
Right.
But the other ones are kind of, I mean, Loader Lionmon probably goes into Baihumon because they're both tigers. Or wait, Baihumon's a lion?
Byakko is a cat, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Hippogriffomon probably goes into Zhuchaomon since they're both birds. The only one that leaves is Triceramon turning into Zulangmon, which I guess...
Dragons, dinosaurs, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I don't even know what's going on anymore.
I mean, did anyone else get... I mean, I guess I should have seen what coming, like, knowing that Maki has been doing some of the evil things. But like, as soon as they start, well, I thought what I was going for actually was that Megadramon was turning into, because if you like look at any wiki about the Sovereigns or the Holy Beast or whatever, there is always listed, like, in the null canon Digimon lore, there's a fifth one, which is the like Dragon of the Center or whatever. Because the other ones are the four cardinal directions, and there's supposed to be this other fifth one for the center. And I think, what's its name? Looking it up now. But it's like associated as being golden. And like Megadramon, when it's being attacked, definitely turns golden. It's the Yellow Dragon of the Center is the fifth one. And I cannot pronounce the name. Anyway, I thought the whole like secret, like, how does them attacking, like, Daigo later states, or like when he's talking to Maki, says that like they need to sacrifice Megadramon in order to turn into the Holy Beast. But like they totally turn into Holy Beast and then just attack him. And then that attack, like follows through and destroys the Dark Masters or whatever. But did anyone else find that weird that like the first thing they do is just attack the fifth one?
I was very confused what was going on.
Who attacks what?
So like the Digimon all digivolve into their Holy Beast form and then just like fire off attacks at Megadramon.
Mm-hmm.
No one else found that confusing or weird?
I found the whole beginning confusing.
No,
it was weird, but like
it was a sacrifice.
Yeah, like when they did that, it clearly worked.
I guess so.
I don't know what it did, but
it seemed like
worked.
Megadramon had a plan. Remember when they were fighting Beast Myotismon? I don't remember what his English name is. I don't remember if that's his Japanese name.
Venom Myotismon?
Venom? Is he Venom? Yeah, Malomyotismon season 2. Alright, when they were fighting Venom Myotismon, the Anjomon and Anjowomon shot Tai and Matt. Same principle.
Yeah, but at least, I suppose. I was actually thinking you were gonna mention the attack that Anjomon uses to defeat Vanilla Myotismon, where like she combines
that was different. That was different.
Right, but that's what this felt like it was going. That it actually did was like it combined the attacks into one thing.
It did, but I mean, Anjomon, they didn't shoot Anjomon.
Right, right. This felt really awkward because like they didn't set up the necessity for them having to do it. They just showed it and then was like, well, this just happened. And I guess maybe you're supposed to imply that you're supposed to get the impression that that's what Maki's perspective was too. That she was also like, what's going on? Why is this happening? But I don't know. I guess it, like your lasting impression is like, okay, they clearly, I don't think anyone comes away from it being like, oh, they just randomly attacked one of their own, even though that is what it looks like. So I guess I shouldn't be so critical on it.
Yes, when you take away what is said happens, that's how that works.
Well, I just feel like it's awkward plotting and writing and just general depiction to need narration to explain what's going on visually. And for the visuals to have a completely different message than what is told. I don't know.
It's a sacrifice. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think we all figured it out.
I guess it's just...
How else do you... Okay.
I guess they only had a couple minutes to have the whole sequence and to illustrate that they needed a sacrifice any other way. It just didn't feel like needing a sacrifice. What? Like that's just like a BS. It just feels like a thing out of a script. Like, oh, a sacrifice is needed. So, okay, but like, why was a sacrifice needed? Why does having a sacrifice increase the power of
Digimon
anything?
Digimon is lazy.
Yeah, okay.
Digimon should not have mystical things like that.
Yeah, like Digimon always fails at anything that requires mythos.
I guess it's just frustrating because, like, even if that I consider the best aspect of the movie, and I consider the expanding on the lore and the myth and everything, it's still flaws in that regard. I
guess I would say, Sam Kriwagamon, our ultimate Patramon, wanted us to talk about this and preface it with that a silent movie style bit of amazingness, and I'm like, yeah, but I didn't think it was amazing though.
I mean, I did think it was amazing, and I'm still super critical of it. I like the idea that the Sovereigns, the Holy Beast, whatever they're called, whatever version, aren't inherent to the world, that they were created through some event, like there was a digital world before them. I think like the narration that is over kind of spells it out, that like light is created out of darkness or whatever. And that's kind of neat. I don't know what it doesn't actually change things much.
I don't know. I still just feel like this opening sequence was like so fan-pandery. It's like, yes, we've had 20 years to come up with all these theories, and then they confirmed it for us. And it's like, did they really confirm it or just give you what you wanted always? Like, you have had years to tell them what you wanted. And so they gave it to you.
I think it's more, I don't think it's like they explicitly looked up fan theories and then confirmed the most popular fan theories. I think it's like some fan theories become popular because there is lots of evidence for them and they make a lot of sense. So then it also, when new writers come in and like, what are we going to write about this? It makes sense for them to gravitate towards similar ideas. I also think the thing is that like this being a fan theory has been like fueled by little bits of information that have been doled out. Like there were the Digimon Adventure novels, like the retold adventure, and dropped in little hints of this. I think the hint that it dropped was that the Sovereigns were originally partners of the original Digidestined, whoever they were. So like bits and pieces of this have been implied for a while. And so like it's just never been like canonized in the anime, I guess. So I don't know.
Okay.
I do appreciate that, like the approach of, okay, we're going to add new story to adventure, that they chose to go answer these kind of questions.
I just feel like in the end, we're all going to come out of this like, these were the things that you thought you always wanted, but you didn't act like in the end they were disappointing.
Maybe. It's possible. But so the reboot, if the reboot brought back Tobiramon/Bakumon, does that mean the Sovereigns are just gone now?
Possibly.
Like that's what it should mean, right? But like, shouldn't that mean like Daigo has some kind of concern? I also feel like it's a little bit faulty of Maki to be like, I lost my partner forever, but like, I assume the other kids kind of did too. Like they became gods, and I assume they're like, you know, I assume Daigo isn't able to commune with Baihumon regularly, but I actually never mind. I guess there's a big difference between a loved one passing away and a loved one being unreachable.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Take that back.
Official
retraction. Official retraction. Dying is bad.
Death is permanent.
And
Except
like
in Digimon.
I really like the library flashback that we see of like Maki and Daigo like dealing with it after they've grown up a little bit after the events of their adventure. And I mean, the main thing I really like about that is how it kind of paints the like, because we knew before that they dated at some point and broke up and aren't still together, right? And we see them start their relationship, but it's just like the framing that they were actually chosen children together and they were on an adventure and then they started dating and then they broke up. It totally frames the like, but who does Sora choose for the rest of her life to end up with in the epilogue? Like, I think it shines some interesting light on that, because it's like showing like, yes, you can be like what people have argued for a while, which is like they could have had crushes, they could have started dating and then broken up and then still be friends, which is what these characters do. And
yeah, you don't need. I disagree with liking this flashback. I have a topic about it. It's fine. I'm
just saying that like they clearly wouldn't be able to show our main kids going through that. They couldn't show like Sora dating Taichi, but then breaking up, but then staying friends.
Why not?
Because they don't have years to show that off. Like,
oh, okay, sure, all right.
Yeah, like if that takes like years for that kind of like for them to date for a year and then break up and then stay friends after that kind of thing. Like, sure, they could show her dating one of them in the current day, but like I think it just seeds the idea that like if you were to now make an argument that like in your head canon or whatever that Sora dates Taichi and then breaks up and they stay good friends and then she dates Matt 10 years later, that's like so much more plausible when it's like, yeah, they've given you an explicit example of that being a thing. Yeah, and we also got a suggestion to talk about this from another Ultimate Patramon, Crimson9660. What's their Patramon name you want to go by?
Alvaro Crimson Mode.
So they wanted to know what our thoughts were on Mako and Maki look so similar, their names. Anyway, they want to know what our thoughts are on Maki getting a little crazy after meeting her Digimon Bakumon again. Like, she had to know that they wouldn't have remembered her, so why do they go all crazy? And yeah.
I mean, I'm willing actually to cut her slack in this instance. Because the thing that she wanted for so long, and even if you know in your mind that that's how it's going to happen, it's like, I mean, I think it's a little overboard, because I think it was just like straight to crazy, like,
right. It was like, this is not what I was promised.
Of crazy, yeah, like.
But yeah, I think that like you kind of like, if she had her heart set on it for so long, you start to like lose sense of perspective, and like facts start to get a little bit blurred, and you're like, okay. But I think Sora has a similar kind of struggle a little bit to some degree, where she is like, I knew coming back here would be hard. I knew you wouldn't remember us, but I thought it'd be easier than this. Right. And in contrast, Maki just like goes from 0 to 11. But and because like Sora only had a couple of weeks or whatever to think about it, but like I could see it getting even more muddled in the years that Maki had.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, the first thought I had was just how interesting the contrast was to how the kids, like their first reaction when they see them is heartbreak, but also like they're just, I mean, sorry, I looked back up in chapter 3 what Koshiro's first line is, and he's like, hello, I don't know much about you guys or this world, would you teach me? And he's able to, like, those were Tentomon's explicit words to him. I think the kids were set up better because the Digimon were able to say goodbye beforehand. And those words that Koshiro was able to say then were inspired by Tentomon being like, you know, telling him like, there's so much you don't, like the thing about your quest for knowledge is there's so much you don't know. That's what makes you special, whatever. Those directly inspired his words. It's almost like because they're able to say goodbye before they parted, they're able to give them the emotional tools so that when they met again, they were able to handle it. Whereas Maki didn't get that. Maki was just like, I'm dead. Okay, now I'm back. And yeah.
I mean, it really makes me question what Daigo has been, like, doing with her all this time, but whatever. I think it also makes a troubling parallel, or maybe it's an intentional thing, of, like, the two adults that are in the digital world now are just, like, batshit crazy. Like,
adults are always evil, Ashley.
Right. Adults are always evil.
Kids are good, but adults are evil.
Yeah. It's really playing that up.
I want Daigo to just come in with goggles and ride Bahumon and be like, no! And slap everyone.
Right. I mean, okay, maybe I'll also cut Daigo some slack. Like, Maki seems to have a personality where it's like, Daigo probably says correct things. I don't think that Maki, like, listens to them.
Oh, because women don't listen.
Oh, yeah, precisely. True facts. Not at all.
Yeah, not at all.
I think I'm squeezing 2 different topics into one just because this episode's already too long, so I just don't care. But I was most fascinated about this movie where they all get split up, and then some of them don't have their Digimon partner, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, this is gonna be so great! And then it wasn't, and I was like, no, Digimon, why? So, like, notable exceptions are Hikari is still with Salomon, Sora is still with Biyomon. Those are the only 2 that are with the right people. Okay. I think that's because they had to, like, I think we mentioned before, like, Hikari has one line in this movie, I think. And it's basically like, I am happy that Gatomon can't remember her, like, abusive past. Like, that seems cool. Like, stop being all blah about it, Taichi. And then obviously Sora is the main conflict. Biyomon doesn't love her, whatever. Plays up with the Mako. I thought that was really mean, actually, but whatever.
Wait, what, like having them paired off is mean? What?
Having Biyomon liking Mako better. Or
yeah, just like
pretending to, at least.
Pretending to like.
I didn't read that as like her liking Mako. Like, what I read it as is like I didn't read it as this, but it reminded me of the dynamics of a couple going through a kind of like heated argument, and then a friend, and they have to like put on their good behavior and pretend to be nice for the friend.
Oh, that's not how I read it. I read it as Biyomon like sending a message to Sora, like, oh look, she's not pretending to have this relationship with me. I'm going to go sit with her.
Or if not that, then it kind of reminded me of like the cattiness that I perceive happens more in female to female relationships of like, I need you to learn a lesson. So like, I'm not going to tell you what the lesson is. I'm just going to like give affection to different people and like make you jealous. And I was like, nah. But I thought there was a lot of potential in Taichi getting Gabumon and Yamato getting Agumon, although Yamato is also with Koshiro. But I interpreted Koshiro getting Gabumon and Yamato got Agumon. That was my interpretation of that event.
I was worried actually while watching the pairings that like it was just fodder for someone like breaking down like, okay, who's with who, and then like that most of them would be like, oh well, they just kind of ended up that way because they ran out of combinations.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think there is some fodder there, especially with like Mimi getting Tentomon. Like, okay, cool. Yeah. But like Joe getting Palmon and Patamon, like I don't know. I guess Palmon, they're also trying to make somewhat of a triangle out of Joe, Koshiro, Mimi.
Are they?
I get that vibe. You don't get that vibe?
No.
I think both Jomi and Komi, so both Joe Mimi and Koshiro Mimi, are popular
Yeah.
ships, and that
They
their
are.
approach to shipping in general has been to not rock the boat and to, like show moments between popular ships that they can.
Leave you with the possibility of all of them. Yeah. Like, I definitely, because Mimi comes up to Joe a lot and still, like, teases him about his girlfriend. He, like, definitely blushes and stuff. Like, I don't know. They're definitely less than Koshiro, but they're still there, is how I feel. I thought it was so interesting that Takeru's with nobody. He meets up with a Lekmon. And, like, it's so inconsequential. It's like, yep, I went to Primary Village before I met an Lekmon. The Lekmon doesn't remember now. He still bandages my leg. Why is Takeru the only one who's injured? I don't know. Doesn't come into play
Yeah, that
later
was-
in the movie. Like, what? Like, it's just so garbage.
My impression of like both the leg being damaged and where they're sent is that like there's so many examples in this movie. It felt like patterns that were incomplete. So it's like, oh, well, Takeru gets sent to the place where he had his episode in Adventure. And so does Joe. He gets sent to the top of Infinity Mountain. And so does Mimi. Mimi gets sent to either the castle or the ruins. Either one is an episode where she had
A mixture of both.
right. I don't think it's a mixture, but I think it's just confusing and ambiguous. But and then like, but it's just those three, right? Like, and it's weird for it to seem like there's a pattern, but then be like, oh, we didn't actually like follow through with that pattern. And I don't know. It could be because there are other factors and it's hard to follow through with the pattern. But then it's like, why do the pattern at all if you can't do it fully? And I guess because it also like them being sent to those places wasn't intentional. Like if they did make it so everyone was sent to where they had their episodes, like if Kosher was sent to the factory, if Tai was sent to the beach, etc. I guess Matt wouldn't have gone anywhere though, because he was already there. But yeah, I guess if they had done that, then there'd be more questions we'd ask about like why were they sent to the places? This seems intentional, but still, that's still a question. Still is there when it's half intentional, when it's half present, when the patterns are half there. I don't know.
Right. And like all of this is a half pattern, and it's just like, but why? In the end, I feel like only Taichi and Yamato sort of got anything out of switching Digimon. And I guess that's because they're the two main characters, but like, why bother? Like, and
I think it was, I don't know. I think it was kind of fun to have them swapped up. And maybe it was just like, because it'd be a little bit fun to have a little bit of change of pace. And that was it. I don't know.
I know, but I feel like all of these movies are now adding up to that. And it's like, no, give me something significant. Like, I don't know. It's also like switching them up at a time where they don't have memories at all feels inconsequential, but like you could do something interesting with their chosen children. Do they actually have explicit partners? Can you like form a bond with somebody who's not your partner? Like, I don't know. It wasn't interested in answering those questions. It was just like, isn't it fun if we show Mimi with Tentomon? Remember that one episode, you guys? Wasn't that fun? When it actually wasn't even fun. Like, no. And the loneliness of Takeru being with nobody after having lost Patamon and then meeting a Lekmon. So many interesting things. All squandered. Really mad.
I'm just mad that it wasn't the Lekmon from your fanfic.
I know, right? Gosh. I found the Elecmon creepy because its hair looked more realistically like hair, and I was like, I don't like it. Stop it.
We,
like it had texture.
Need to cater to that furry market.
Okay. So, I'll segue from there to the second part of this discussion, which is I did not like the flashback between Maki and Daigo. Not because I don't like that they had a relationship, but I don't like that it was framed in a way that like Maki's like, I am sad about losing my Digimon partner. And then at least as it is presented in the subtitles, I cannot verify whether they are the same words in Japanese. I guess Jeff could do that. Is just like, okay, you lost your Digimon partner, but then Daigo's like, let me be your partner instead. And I'm like, what? No! Ew, what is this? This is creepy. Like, what are you doing? Like, and especially as someone who very much in my writing always centers around like, what is the line between friendship and like loving somebody romantically? And it's like, there's definitely a physicality aspect to that. And it's just kind of like, don't equate those two, Digimon. Like, I don't want to have that in my mind. Now you put it there, so thanks. Like,
So actually,
Nobody.
I actually like reading your notes. Like it just says like explore the relationships. Oh, now your thing's coming. I can't see.
She doesn't want you to see her notes.
Explore the relationships
no
of
idea.
love there and how they're different. Please don't like. But like I thought you just wrote they're different than someone else wrote. Please don't make that connection. Like someone was like yelling at you. But
No.
now I see it's just you internally yelling at yourself. And
I'm just always
and the
yelling.
show.
I'm always yelling at something. Myself, the show, you. Well, did nobody else get that creepy vibe? Is it just me? Am I crazy? I need to know.
I didn't get that creepy
Jeff's
vibe.
like, I don't want to say that you're crazy.
No. I didn't get that creepy vibe. I got a, like, I still think this is problematic. I think it's problematic just to be like, you've lost someone, can't dating me fulfill that hole in your heart. Like,
Right.
I find that frustrating and like it is frustrating on lots of, I think it's frustrating because like it's not how people act and to expect that of someone that like, can't me being here like be enough for you? Like you shouldn't be sad. That's kind of frustrating. I also think it kind of, there's a lot of like media, a lot of fiction that portrays guys as being the best friend who's there like when the girl they've always liked is like deals with like bad breakups and like you'll be the good friend that's there to help them through it and then you'll get to start dating them, which is almost somewhat reminds me of this, like to be like you've lost someone, I'm here for you, like can't you just. But both those things were just like, there were just shades of it. I wasn't like, this is bad. I was like, this seems maybe
Sure,
possibly.
but like,
Yeah.
Isn't everything that we think is bad in this just a shade of it? Like, Jedi didn't actually rape anybody, but he did lick somebody, which was gross.
No, I
Like,
think what I was trying to say about the shades of that is that like in Game of Thrones, like there are different degrees and in different contexts. In Game of Thrones, that looking thing would be like, oh, that's tame by Game of Thrones standards. It isn't actually a like violation of too much by Game of Thrones standards, so it's like seen as pretty tame and not that offensive. But in here, it's like such a like so much more physical and suggestive and like than like anything Digimon has done. So I think
right.
it like feels like a violation of that. So it's not like shades. It's not like, oh, this is shades. I guess it's shades of certain real world behaviors. But I think even just as a thing that like is violating her consent.
I don't know, but even I feel like Daigo hugging Maki is sort of like even far more certainly romantic physicality than Digimon ever is normally shows you. Like that's why all the ships are not confirmed. It's just like no, and Taichi and Yamato both sat next to Sora, like, and then neither of them held her hand because we can't show that. Like,
Hold on.
I don't know. Whatever, that's all I had to say about these things.
So I don't know. I mean, what he says in Japanese is like "orejan," something "orejane atarashi patana." Like the word for partner is
So
literally
they're
patana.
both, yeah, right. They're just using the
Right.
English word.
I don't know how she has referred, like how the two of them have referred to partners in the past, but like the kids definitely have said patana.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Asher has no feelings.
Not really.
Asher's like, I just want to cough and die.
Kinda.
I do think it's like, in terms of them being equated, I think there's a sense that like this experience that she's going through where she has to deal with the loss of this Digimon and then potentially replace it with in the hole in her heart with a romantic relationship. It kind of like she's like upgrading from like childhood relationships to adult relationships. You know what I mean? That like as a childhood you have like intimate friendships and then as an adult you have romantic relationships. Is that feel like it's kind of what it feels like. And I think that's not totally wrong.
That's true. When you frame it like that, it seems fine. But the fact that they're actual literal, like, monsters is where it seems weird. Like,
I guess, like, I just don't feel like it was ever, like, it's never being like, hey, Maki, let's start dating just like you were dating Bakuman or Tapiramon. Like,
sure. It was clearly like, I want to be smooth and, like, play on words, but, like...
It's nice that that play on words works in both languages. Like, it'd be tough if it was like, oh, whatever.
Oh, that's true. I see it, yeah.
Right, the like partner works in both contexts in both languages.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, maybe even that's like, actually, I don't know what the connotation of partner is in Japanese.
I think the fact that they chose the English word partner, which they repeatedly use in the Digimon context, means not... I don't think he's asking to date her really, but to be someone she can rely on.
Yeah, I don't think like, I mean, just looking up like quick, I'm looking up a couple like example sentences, which isn't, obviously super comprehensive, but I don't get the sense that partner, like in English, one of the many connotations of partner is romantic partner, right? And like especially when people are trying to be gender ambiguous, saying partner like can explicit like just on its own just mean a romantic partner. But I don't get the sense it has that connotation in Japanese.
Yeah, like I get the sense that what he's asking for is something incredibly deep and like let's be one person, but like I whatever. But like yeah, okay, fine, that's sexy. But like I don't think the primary thing is ooh, let's kiss. Like I don't
know. I really
all right.
Wait,
give it his hug.
Ash, did you just call Daigo incredibly sexy?
No.
That's what I heard, Ash. I didn't think you leaned that way. Ash, you can admit it.
He's really not. He wears shorts with slippers and a lab coat.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
I don't know. I think his calligraphy turns me on a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Jeff has a crush on Daigo. Oh, that's cool. Whatever. I have competition with Daigo. I think I can handle it, even though I don't dress that well either, but I think I got him beat somehow.
his little thing he's wearing. Okay, now I'm talking about the fashion of whatever they are, like 13-year-olds at this point. Never mind.
He's like generic t-shirt in this.
No, he has a coat when he's hugging her.
Oh, okay. When he's hugging her. I thought we were talking about the Digimon. I was like, isn't he just wearing like a pink shirt? Like, what? I love the Sora.
So Sora, okay.
That was sarcastic.
We know.
Okay. Sora. So, okay, this is a segment about Sora's arc in this movie, which I think is an important thing to discuss because it is
the Sora movie.
Supposed to be, quote unquote, supposed to be her movie. And I guess I want to prepend this by saying that I've seen a couple different reactions to this online so far, and it seems like a lot of people who really like Sora were happy with what Sora got in this movie. And everyone who was not super in love with Sora already thought that she got very little attention and there wasn't much of her that she got. And I think both of those realities are correct. No, I started saying that. I don't believe that. I think one of them is true.
They're very different realities.
Which one do you think is more correct?
I think that she doesn't get much is more correct, but I can understand how people who really like Sora saw more things, that read into more things than people who don't like that much about Sora. They're like, if you're actively engaging with the Sora in your mind, I think a lot of people who like just dismissed it as being like her getting notified, because I think a lot of it is kind of subtle and is just mirrors of adventure. And if you forget what it's mirroring, it feels like there's nothing there. And if you remember what it's mirroring, I think there is more to it there. I'm still disappointed. Like I was thinking of those parallels and stuff, and I'm still kind of disappointed though. But anyway, I did write in my notes here, like, why is Yokomon the only one to completely reject their partner, which we discussed about. And I think it's a lot of my notes I'm discovering, because I took them while I was watching the episode and I try not to pause as much. A lot of them are just like two words and then like they don't finish a sentence. One of these is just maybe she what? Maybe she what? Oh god.
Wait, I want to know how Asher feels about Sora's arc in this movie, because Asher
I thought it was great, so I'm fitting right into that.
So we're confirming the Jeff's observations. Okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Jeff, Asher's so disappointed to confirm Jeff's observations.
You know I hate confirming things.
Yeah.
I find it frustrating, like, okay, so even, because I was like on this debate with Ashley, like, I was saying that it makes more sense for Yokomon to be the one who rejects, but I do think that, like, I guess it's more when she digivolves into Piyomon, is just, like, so mean, and that really, like, I don't think Sora, when she was off put by Biyomon in episode 4 of Adventure, was ever that mean, ever as mean as Biyomon is to her in this movie, and it was, like, frustrating to watch. It was, like, frustrating to watch because it's, like, someone be mean to someone else. That's just, like, upsetting to watch. But also just frustrating because, like, it kept going on. I was like, there's no way you'd be this mean. And, I don't know. Ash, how did you feel about that?
I thought it was reasonable.
Asher's like, all these actions were reasonable given the evidence that I'm given.
Yeah, like...
I also think that the parallel and the reversal I don't know. I mean, I do like the observation Ashley had before that like it kind of like shows that their personalities mirror each other. That like so that when Biyomon is put into a similar situation that Sora was put into by Biyomon before, that she acts similarly. But like I felt like the way Sora reacted in Adventure to Biyomon was, you know, explicitly set up about kind of being about her mother. That like having someone be so outwardly affectionate to her was very foreign to her because she grew up in a house where that was never given to her. And like the other characters, that wasn't so much of a problem, so they were able to accept it. And here it's just like, okay, we flipped it. So like there's no like reason why, I guess there's no reason for Biyomon to act that way except for that she mirrors Sora, which I guess is enough. I don't know. It still feels a little bit sloppy.
Sure. I'm not here to argue that this was a good episode. I'm here to argue that I enjoyed it.
Which I think actually, like, I mostly agree with that opinion of Ash, but I also want to be like, no, I want to make it clear that, like, on any remote critical level, I think it really, really fails.
I felt like Ty and Matt chilling with Sora, like that one, like where at dark when they're like, whatever, the three of them. And I should pretend this with like, I don't dislike the dynamic of Taichi, Sora, and Yamato. Like that is what we got, like especially commissioned for this episode. Like I think we like the dynamic. We like the like I like both ships of Sora with Yamato and Sora with Taichi. And like the three of them being friends, I like that idea. But like it really did not feel like it was like the three of them. Like it felt like Sora with her two people who are competing for her, who was like happened to be sitting there kind of awkwardly.
That is not how it felt to me.
Oh really?
So yeah,
what did it feel
like? They really cared.
Well,
no, that's not how it felt to me.
I do think it felt like Taichi and Yamato both really cared about her, but like, it didn't feel like three friends hanging out. It felt like three people, or one person who was upset and two people who were trying to care for her, instead of like three people who are close friends with each other.
I mean, to me, it was like, it's not that they didn't seem to outwardly care about her. It just seemed to confirm that like neither of them actually understands her at all and are better friends with each other.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'm just more frustrated by like, it's clear that they were showing affection and like they cared for her, but like they were just so daft. Like, it's like, were they so? Did they not notice that she and Yokomon or she and Biyomon weren't getting along? Like, how? Like there was one. I mean, I guess there's so much going on, and they were so focused on their own partners, but like. I don't know, it just made me feel like there's no way to read them not knowing what's wrong with Sora or why she's upset without thinking that they're just like so preoccupied with their own stuff that they didn't notice.
Yeah, I think that's completely exactly what happened.
I think that's completely valid, especially given that they make it explicitly a joke. Like, it is one of my favorite moments when, like, you know, Ty's like, I don't understand what's going on here. And Yamato's like, that's because you never, like, pay attention or whatever. And then he's like, do you understand what to do in these situations? And Yamato's like, should we ask Takaru? And I'm like, yes, that's a great moment.
You guys are so bad.
Okay, yeah, that was a great moment. I really like the like that because that never would have been. That's not a joke that never would have been possible in Zero 2 or Adventure. That like, but like Takaru is aged enough that now it's like, yeah, he's the playboy, and they like the person they think of for romantic advice. But I also find it frustrating because it's like, this isn't romantic advice you need. This is just like being a human.
No, but I think it's actually like Takaru is shown to be good at like many things that they are not just like
the girls,
being
the
like
ladies.
a silly good, like good with ladies. Like he's just like a smoother talker. I think he genuinely is more empathetic because he had to like lose Patamon and go through like worse crap. And like I think he's just generally a more observant boy. So like
yes, in general. This is why he becomes a writer, you know?
Yeah. Like,
he already writes a blog.
He's a blogger at this point. I think his book is self-published anyway, so.
Wow. Are you like
no, I'm not
poo-pooing self-publishing?
No, I'm not. It was a joke. Okay. Another aspect of Sora's arc that I find really frustrating is that it really felt like Piyomon's turn happened on a dime. That like it totally came out of the blue, and it's like just, you know, goes from one extreme to another. Like it also felt awkwardly paced because it's I'm trying to think the series of events. Her turn happens while they're sitting on the boat, but the reason for her turn is I guess like Sora rushing to save Biyomon after Genai licks her. which is like several minutes before, and there's so much like random chaotic movement that happens between those two that I wasn't like, when Bioman's like, you saved me, I'm like, when? What are you talking about? Like, I'd forgotten both times I watched. I had to go back, like the second time I watched, I had to go back and like, what are you referring to? That was a long time ago. Oh, I guess it was only 4 minutes ago, but it feels like forever ago. And I didn't remember that specific moment. So yeah, and it's like, that's just awkward, I think, the structuring of that. But I just, and I think it's clearly like structured intentionally to make you think that she's not, like, she starts saying something, she starts like, she has like a mad face, and she's like, why did you go defend me? And then it's like, I like that about you. That means you're soft. That's good. Cool. We're good now. And I don't think it just seemed,
I mean,
executed weirdly.
It felt undeserved. At the same time, I kind of, in the way that I read her actions as being kind of like petty before, I kind of felt like it was abrupt because it was just kind of like, you know what? I'm tired of punishing you. Like, I actually liked you the whole time, but I'm just sick of punishing you. So, like, I'm gonna be nice now.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you disagree? So, okay. So you don't think it went from one extreme to another because you think that she was never really at that extreme. Like, she...
Yeah.
Right.
See, I am starting to reach territory where, like, I think both realities can coexist because I don't think one of... Like,
that's nice.
I just don't think, like, either one of these readings is wrong.
It's the wonderful thing about...
I would agree, even though I strongly lean towards one.
Which the one you lean towards is that Sora did not get much.
That's yes.
So Hoemon is super insignificant in the end.
I think that it was mostly played more to get things out of the love triangle. Hoemon is insignificant.
I also feel like the arc that this is, like the arc that Biyomon goes through, at least, of like being kind of smothered and like learning to accept that, and then whatever. I don't know, it just didn't feel like, it felt like a lower stakes kind of arc to go through. Like, it felt like an arc befitting an intro evolution episode of Adventure, and for it to be like the emotional crux of this movie.
Well, I mean, that's what it was paralleling, right? It was paralleling episode 4 of Adventure.
Right. Yeah, and so like in this context, it feels weird to be so, I don't know. But I mean, but it's different because this was more about Sora's perspective in that, and Sora like struggling to deal with. Yeah, and then there's more that's not addressed by the narrative itself, of just like thinking about Sora's thought process when she went through this before and like learned to open up, and then like is starting to be punished for that, and then like where like her internal thoughts at the time, like what is she thinking about what she should be doing? That seems like a really difficult journey for her that is not addressed by the narrative, but at least makes sense for her to be thinking about. I don't know. I guess I've come to the conclusion that like, I don't know. I do still kind of like, even people who really liked the stuff that Sora got here, I don't see how it is seen as like on par or better than the character development that Joe, Mimi, Takaru got in their movies. Koshiro also felt like a little bit like Koshiro didn't get much in chapter 3, but like since Takaru got a lot, it was like, okay, I understand why you need to fit. It's hard to like give a lot of development to both characters. Right,
but there's like, this is Sora's movie, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about factions and power balances that have been spelled out by this movie, kind of just like the lore that's been set out, and I guess like check in on where things stand with the plot of Tri. So we've had some more discussion, revealed about homeostasis. They keep describing it as the one who desires balance.
Yes.
Which, isn't original. But Hackmon is revealed to be an agent of homeostasis, which is interesting. And Hackmon describes Genai as being... He doesn't explicitly say that Genai is like working for homeostasis, but he expresses that Genai normally has a similar goal, which is to aid in keeping the balance between light and darkness, which, is what I assume homeostasis' goal too, since homeostasis means... Well, actually, I was going to say literally it means this, but I'm not sure a Japanese writer would know what it means. I assume they would know what it means in Greek. Or actually, is it a Greek word? I assume it's a Greek word. Or it's just an English word that is inspired by Greek. The medical term that I'm thinking of is like when you have a system, it has a self-regulating, like we're warm-blooded. Warm-blooded mammals have homeostasis systems to maintain regular body temperature. So if you get too hot, there are systems in place to cool you down. And when you get too cold, there's systems in place to heat you up. So I assume in Japanese that is the same understanding of what homeostasis is. And that makes sense. What they describe Genai as is keeping the balance between light and dark. And they also show that Maki was possessed by Hikari. Sorry, Maki was not Maki.
That would be super interesting. Please tell me that story.
Yeah, like maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be interesting if like Maki evolved into homeostasis. And no, anyway, Maki was revealed to have been possessed by homeostasis back in the day. So she's kind of like a proto Hikari, which is interesting, but I don't know like what that really. I guess that kind of just shows a like predisposition to young girls to look a certain way. Like I don't know. Anyway, Yggdrasil is finally name dropped in this movie, which people probably recognize from other Digimon lore.
Especially season 5.
Yeah, especially season 5 and also X Evolution. In most Digimon lore, Yggdrasil was like the god of the digital world that usually hates humans and wants Digimon to kind of be free of human influence and stuff. And that's like, wow, this is certainly leaning towards that direction. Because that's like kind of like what Genai spells out specifically of finding the Digimon to be enslaved by humans and wanting to free them of their influence.
Except he literally dresses up as the one person who actually does enslave Digimon.
That's true. And also, like, maybe that just reflects
probably the point, yeah.
Like, reflects what he thinks of humans.
Like, this is what a human looks like.
Humans are
doesn't
bad.
it? Yeah.
But on
We
the
are
other...
Team Plasma.
Yeah, it is very, like, oh, this, like, children's franchise where there's a partnership between the humans and the monsters. Let's introduce this element where, like, actually, there's this people who consider it slavery. Isn't that subversive? Because now, doesn't it look like slavery, guys? And it's like, no, it doesn't. I mean, Pokemon is more explicitly slavery-ish.
Yeah.
So I think it fit better there. Here, it's like, no. But also I found it, I complained about the Dark Masters not speaking at all, but I don't know if it's, like, Genai is complaining about Digimon being, like, it seems like what he's doing, it seems like he's somehow controlling Machine Digimon and Metal Suijimon, right? Like, they don't speak at all. He rides Machine Digimon. Like, it seems like what he's doing is much more controlling and enslaving. And I can't tell if that's an intentional, like, are they intentionally subverting his mission or, like, his goal? Like, are they portraying it as being flawed, or is the writing just flawed? Oh.
So hard to know in the Digimon.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like this, like, argument of, like, is this intentionally portraying this thing, or is it just flawed writing? Is it just, like, just confused and poorly executed? It's something I remember thinking about a lot at the beginning in the first movie. I haven't thought about it much since then. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, I thought we thought about it all the time. Oh, that's the one true Digimon. Is it?
The one true Digimon.
It's just the one true Digimon. Is it real though? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, and then they describe Meicoomon as being Libra, which, I mean, in Latin means scale. I think they actually, like, in Japanese...
They pronounced it Libra.
Yeah, Libra, which I don't know what's up with that.
Which makes me think of library.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it does... No way about Meicoomon... No way that Meicoomon has been trained makes me think scale.
Right. But I think that is most people's association with Libra.
Right, and what they describe, they don't describe Meicoomon as being, or they don't describe Libra as being scale-like. They say is, if it falls into their hands, the world shall be led down a path of destruction. It seems more like an element that would tip the scales, and less the scale itself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I want it to be related to library instead. Because that knowledge is literal power.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's just the Meikomon's a library. That'd be cool.
Well, it's sort of like a certain magical index.
Is that the name of the series?
Yes.
Okay. Wait, so how do
I
they
may
say
have miscited it, but...
No, I was like, that wording sounds... So it was said like Libra?
Libra is how they were pronouncing it.
Okay, that is apparently... There is a common way to say library is Raiburi in Japanese. Like, it is a common word in Japanese. Interesting. Yeah. That makes sense because, like, software libraries too. Usually software terms are kind of kept as katakana. That'd be interesting. So, okay, I just want to talk a little bit about the balance between light and dark that they use here, that they seem to be, like, spelling out the Digimon Tri plot heading towards, and the Digimon Tri, like, lore focusing on. And I don't know, part of me is just disappointed because, like, where things seemed to be headed after the last movie was towards a place where everyone had different points of view on what was the right thing to do, but no one was, like, explicitly evil. And now it's like, nope, Genai is explicitly evil. He is evilness. He licked the Sora.
Yeah.
And
He licked Sora.
that's disappointing. I mean, I feel like I'm used to, like, I have a gut reflex now to, I have an instinct to kind of correct myself when I start saying it's disappointing because I expect something more mature. Since we've been covering Digimon for so long, and it's like, usually I'm like, oh, but I expect this to be more mature. But then I have to be like, no, it's Digimon, Jeff. Calm down. Like, it's not going to be that mature.
Yeah, seriously.
No, but this is the one time where it's like, but the series is made to appeal to the more mature Digimon audience. It would be the one place where if you're going to do something a little bit more ambitiously mature like that, this would be where to do it. And no, not anymore. Anyway, I used to really love the trope of light versus dark. And it's not just the trope of light, because everything is like a battle between light and dark. But especially what I'm referring to is the like idea that
You're referring to Kingdom Hearts.
No, I'm especially referring to characters that are meant to balance light and dark. Like, that's the ultimate ideal. The ultimate ideal isn't light. The ultimate ideal is balancing light and dark.
Like the Force.
Yeah, like I feel like every place where this trope comes up of balancing light and dark being good, it is always a super flawed idea because the good characters are always light. Like, it's always the light characters who talk about the balancing light and dark being good. And it's just like,
yes,
but you don't seem to live what you, or is that the phrase, live what you preach? Like, they don't seem
Practice what you preach.
Live what you, okay. I am so bad at phrases.
We're talking about
Practice. Okay. Yeah, they don't seem to practice what they preach because it's like, but clearly you think light is better. Like, I don't think that Genai would object to, like, at the end of Adventure, they've rooted out all darkness and it's just light left. And Genai is not like, guys, we need some more darkness. And I also feel like it's...
Old man Genai can't remember those things.
It's true. But so I just feel like it's also a really weird real world analogy that it spells out. Because it's like it's such a it's only because it's such a persistent trope in fiction that it bothers me in this angle. Because it's like, there's no real world scenario where we want to balance like good deeds and bad deeds. Like, you can kind of make the argument that like only because of suffering are people able to experience happiness, which I think people are more and more coming around to the idea of that being complete BS. Like, yeah, like everyone's always striving to reduce pain and suffering. It's not like we should be like, no, but we need a certain amount of pain and suffering, guys, because that'll like keep the world in balance. Like,
but I think that actually is a thing that people argue. Like,
right.
To a lesser degree of a skill, like, you know, you need to learn how to fight so that you can be tough because you can't root out all darkness. So you need, like, you will be harassed. So you need to get stronger from it instead of letting it crush you. Is sort of how that storyline always goes.
But I also feel like no one would argue that you should have harassment around to strengthen people who are resisting harassment.
Oh, no, people do that. That's the argument against trigger warnings.
Right. It's like, it's totally just like the argument of people who are like, it's human nature and you can't legislate that. Like, you can't, like, people are going to get angry. There's some, it's not like we should advocate for it, but it's actively stopping striving for anything better.
But I feel like it's never really spelled out in those terms. Like, I feel like, I don't know, both those, like, all the situations you described, like being okay with human nature and trigger warnings and stuff, they feel pretty distinct from, like, I don't think anyone would argue that, like, people should be getting sick because it makes me feel better when I'm not sick.
But people do argue that, oh, it's good to be sick every once in a while to appreciate the whatever. And also, oh, being sick improves your immune system.
That's true. Yeah.
We just had Johnny G when we were in Japan was like, you have to be cold sometimes. Like, you have to let yourself be cold so then you just get used to it and you don't have to, like, rely on all these clothes and stuff. And it's like, there are definitely people that just argue that, like, letting yourself suffer will make you stronger in the future and then you'll just suffer less. Like, that is the...
Okay, these are... Getting used to different temperature extremes, I think, is very different. That's just like getting used to running. Like, if you run a mile a day, running a mile is not going to be hard for you. If you haven't run a mile in 20 years, it's going to be almost impossible. Like, I think
running is suffering to me. I don't want to run.
But I think that's suffering for a purpose. I don't think when I'm talking about like suffering and evilness, I do not, like, there's an analogy for evilness. I'm not thinking of things that have an explicit, like, pushing yourself to a limit.
Obamacare. Obamacare is explicitly an argument.
I never got to finish my thought. I'm not saying no one argues that some pain is bad, some pain is needed to make things better. I guess I'm saying like I've seen more and more people be like, no, people argue this and it's bullshit. People definitely do argue that like you do need suffering to make people okay with happiness. I'm not saying no one says that. Or no, it's not that people argue that you need suffering to make people appreciate happiness and appreciate not suffering. But I guess the main person I'm thinking of who says this is bullshit is John Green. I don't think I've seen this most recently, but he had a pretty compelling argument that like no one actually, like things like cancer aren't like, the existence of cancer isn't like doing good for anyone. It's not like, I don't know. It's kind of like an easy way to shrug off pain and suffering is to be like, oh, but it's actually making things better because like without pain and suffering, without death, we would be, well, that's a whole other can of worms if like death is a good thing or not. Like, because
yeah, don't go there.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. The one thing I'm also thinking about, like in terms of light and dark and the balance between them being so important, but then everyone who is portrayed as good balancing towards light anyway. First of all, there are lots of stories that have like people who are on the dark side but are still good. I think there's even like a TV tropes page called like Dark is Not Evil, where it's all characters who are on the dark side but are not like doing bad things. I haven't really looked at that list in a while, so I don't know much to say about it, but just saying it's there. But also like on the idea of people, like the people who are light, always saying they value balance, but then still always siding with light anyway. It kind of reminds me of how it was an argument I actually heard first on the Cracked podcast a while ago. And I'm pretty sure I have a link in the show notes to this episode where it was on. And it was a really weird, it was an episode about something totally unrelated. It was about like, and all the Cracked podcast episodes have really clickbaity titles. This is kind of, the clickbaity title is Ben Franklin's secret hack to make people like you. And the secret hack, whatever, was really stupid. I think it's like Ben Franklin argued that you should like treat your enemies nicely and then they will treat you nicely. Or it was something like super obvious or something like that. Or like, no, treat them like they owed you something. Then they will come to act that way towards you. But anyway, this like episode talked about that and like kind of the repercussions of that through society and how like the conclusion that kind of ended on eventually was how society, we don't err towards progressiveness and error towards equality. Like left to everyone's base instincts, everyone gets exclusionary, like sides with their own kind, rejects people, and all these things. So I think, like as a society, we have to work towards progress and equality, but like left to like without doing any of that work, without pushing for equality, pushing for better things, we do fall towards darkness. And so like, I don't know, I think it makes sense for these like people in fiction to be like, oh, we balance or we value the balancing light and dark, but like darkness is the default state. If we don't do anything, darkness will take over everything. So if we're going to do anything, we need to fight on the side of light to keep it in check. I don't know, kind of a stretch, but that's kind of how I read. Like, I'm like, okay, I still get frustrated. Like, I still wish there were actually like these forces that are considered the balancing light and dark who are actually like seen as shitty by the light people. You know what I mean? Like, there should be some degree of like, I don't know, like Genai helps.
Actually.
Oh, yeah.
Titan AE.
What is that?
Yeah. So Titan AE, the Dredge are the aliens full of like pulsing light. They're like literally made out of light, like energy. So they see all biological life as terrible and dark and work to clear it out. Although I don't know if they care about balance. I don't think they do. The only other example I can think of is actually Final Fantasy 15, which is a really bad example because even the people that are named Nightlight are aligned with the light. So, whatever.
Okay, I put down Shipping Corner. This is mostly a like resident shipping expert, Asher.
Oh, God.
Asher Shipping Softman.
There really wasn't that much to talk about this time.
Are you okay?
Wait, Ashley, what was that?
Are you okay? I don't believe you.
I mean, I'm dying
Maybe
a little bit.
just get with
I'm dying
Koshiro,
too.
Yeah, like, I don't know. There was the usual stuff, and I don't know. I'm not really that into Mimi and Koshiro. I think our rewatch of Adventure put me off on that ship.
Oh, because the initial,
he was so obnoxious.
But they've gone past that, haven't they?
Sure, but I can't forget.
Never forget.
Yeah, when Mimi was like sent to wherever with Tentomon, I was like, yeah, remember that episode with the Izzy Mimi? Wasn't that cute? That was the best, right? Okay.
Creep monster.
Wait, do you have a screenshot of Takeru's shocked reaction? Because I feel like I don't remember this.
Oh, I do. So the thing Ashley's describing is when Mimi she doesn't actually feed it to him, but when she tries to feed Koshiro the whatever that snack is topped with jelly beans and whipped cream, and Koshiro blushes, but then Takeru is like in the corners like, what's going on here? I think he's shocked at the actual dessert item, not
but okay, that makes sense.
Not the ship, but
I love Takeru. He's the best.
It's like we'll have a link. We'll have the image in the show notes. But there's like thinking it was like, oh, he's shocked at this. Like, oh my god, I don't approve of this ship.
Oh my god.
I thought he was actually reacting to the ship. It's like,
yeah, I guess that's
no.
Yeah,
I think he's reacting to the weird whatever Mimi's done to food.
No, that was Sora.
I mean,
actually.
he put jelly beans on his eggs back in the day, didn't he?
I don't remember what they
He's
did.
got no word to talk.
Did he? Is it a callback to that?
That was a dub joke.
No, I don't think it was
it?
entirely a dub joke. Or there definitely was something weird going on with eggs in that episode. There was a literal ship.
The one...
They were on a ship.
Yes. The one true ship is Yamato and Taichi.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't feel like that was like shipping fire though. I feel like that was just like they're together. They do stuff together, but they don't like hold hands
serious?
about
No,
it.
underwater, when Yamato like grabs Taichi, he does like some little like
He did a little twirl.
twirl
It was great.
around him. Like, what is happening? Like he's a mermaid.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. But like, I mean, that's been canon for 20 years. Like, what's left to say about Saito?
They had a Kabadon in chapter 2, Asher. That was an important moment.
They
That was a
became
long time
one
ago.
person who swam to the surface, okay? They are a thing.
They are absolutely a thing. And Matt, all like, I expect too much of him, was like, wow, that's a white thing to say.
I know. I was like, whoa. Hi, Yamato. What? Wow.
Do you want to talk about it? Do you have something to share with the class, Yamato?
Is Yamato a Vegeta all of a sudden?
God, I don't...
Because
No,
Vegeta
no.
talks like that in the Japanese.
Seriously? About Goku?
Yeah.
But Vegeta loves Bulma so much.
Wait, so Ashley, did you write this?
Who?
How is Tairato not on this list yet?
Oh, that was me.
That.
Oh, okay.
That was me. I just accept it so deeply that we don't even comment on it, but I was surprised
like,
it was not in there
Sora
already.
is like so like weakly connected into this.
Wait, like, yeah, I don't... I think the biggest piece of Tairato fodder was our artwork.
Our artwork is beautiful, I must say. But I liked when they sat next to her. I mean, it proved that they suck, but...
It proved that they...
It also
when they
proved
sat
that, like,
next to
they
her,
come together when it matters. They
I
still
guess.
suck. Like, with their powers combined, they are still terrible. But...
When they sat down next to her and were making faces like that she was not paying attention to at each other, I was like, yes, this is what we wanted our original artwork to be. It was going to be like them paying attention to each other with her in the middle being like sulky.
Yeah, like... And there's no way she didn't see that. Like, she knows them. She's known them for too long.
She's just like, I'm right here, you guys.
She shouldn't date either of them, really.
I agree. They should date each other.
They should date each other, and she and Joe wouldn't be bad. But
No?
Joe has a girlfriend.
Joe does not have a girlfriend, okay?
He totally does. I believe in Joe. I believe in Joe. Why would he lie?
Because he's just so sad.
Yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't have ever guessed that he would lie, but it's become such an in-joke in the show now.
I believe he has a girlfriend.
I don't believe it until I am shown a person who apparently is a girl to be his girlfriend.
I believe we will see her in the last episode.
Alright, you better hope so.
I will have
new
this
epilogue?
I'll have this one expectation of this show.
What if it's like that's how they bring 02 kids in? It's just like, oh, here's my girlfriend, it's Yoli, and we're like, what?
No.
Amazing.
And they're like, oh, hi, we just didn't want to. I was busy with my studies, and
I was busy this whole time. What have you guys been up to? Hilarious.
I hope her name is Joko.
I didn't like the subversion. Wait. We forgot a ship, and it's Hikari and Takeru, and I didn't like the subversion of that weird joke.
what joke?
That one annoyed me. The one that I didn't even follow the conversation. It was like
they were talking about. I actually don't remember what they were talking about.
Mako. They were talking about Mako, right? Yeah, they were talking about Mako, and then Takaru makes a joke about Mako being a normal girl or something, and then all the girls are like, "But we're normal girls," and he's like, "No, that's not what I meant." And then like, there's some nonsensical exchange in which Hikari's just like, and then Takaru's like, "You know what I mean? You know, I only have one person in my heart," and then like looks at Yamato, and it becomes like a joke.
It's hilarious, honestly.
No, don't try to subvert my Hikari.
Ashley, you were like, "This is terrible," and Ashley's like, "Yes, it's terrible." And then you explained it, and Ashley's like, "It was hilarious, though."
I know.
And you're like, "No, Asher, you can't betray me."
No,
You can't betray me in shipping wars.
I didn't say it was terrible.
Oh, okay.
I actually thought that the brushing the teeth question was going to be the kids, so I was planning on saying Matt for that.
What?
What?
What is it?
This is as nonsensical
What?
as the conversation that I
Coastal
just...
Clash,
Wait.
the question about brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
Wait, hey, Andrew,
I thought
are you?
it was going to be about the kids for some reason.
Well, the answer would have been Ty then.
Wait, what?
No, it would have been Matt because TK would have had to remind him every night.
Is that a thing he did? Like, I don't.
Because TK's always taking care of Matt.
For a good like 30 seconds there, I was like, do we have Andrew's audio 2 hours delayed? Like.
Yes.
That would have been amazing.
That would be even better than his robot voice from last episode that is now before this episode. So,
Did we
JK,
manage
you don't
to
know what I'm
save
talking
that, by the
Oh
way?
yeah. It was it was all recorded in the like
Oh,
it wasn't
sweet.
from Skype. It was from the something. I don't.
It was me.
Maybe it was the mixer.
Probably. I don't know. Something happened.
Amazing.
It's weird because I definitely like I had heard of that happening on a podcast that was like it was like if they recorded on Skype for over an hour, it would happen at the hour mark.
Cool.
But we've crossed that line every recording. So I actually like,
Okay.
Yamato. I said before that I believe in both Taiora and Serato, but like if anything were to ship, it's not that if anything were to sink the Serato ship for me, I think it would be that moment where Yamato says like Mendokusai or whatever, like says it's a pain
Oh, yeah.
when Sora's talking about her
Yeah.
problem. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
like,
my god,
guys,
what?
that was bad.
That was really
Was
bad.
it?
Like maybe there's some like cultural context I'm missing there. Like maybe that is a more acceptable thing to say, and like maybe it's more of a like a shared like instead of it like because the context that reads to us reading the subtitles is like he's saying. I mean, that is how she interpreted it too. That he's saying like, "Oh, you're being a pain," or like it's a pain, and it being you. But like maybe there's another context in Japanese that she didn't interpret it as, but maybe like he meant it as, which
I don't
is the
think
like
so.
it's a pain for both of us kind of.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, bro. I think it was like, this is annoying. You annoy me. Like, stop
Yeah.
it.
This again.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Pretty
Which, like,
sure.
Can't you like? Okay, thinking if he thought that, that'd be damning. If he thought that and said it out loud, that's like,
Yeah.
Did the cave get rebooted?
That's a good question, actually. But it wasn't like part of the digital world.
His swan boat got rebooted.
Did it?
I
It
mean,
must have, right?
We need it.
We need-
his harmonica. Where's his? Oh, he had it last episode. Never mind.
But see, isn't
money.
that like... I feel like Yamato is less silly about his, like, when Taichi's being annoying and Yamato doesn't like it, he's much more, he's not just like, you're a pain, Taichi. He's like, Taichi, I believe in you. I want you to be better for me. Be my lover, God.
Yeah, like,
when
yeah.
Sora's annoyed, he's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Mendokusai.
Sora needs to dump both of them, honestly. Mimi wouldn't be a bad choice. I'm like steadily growing more convinced that Mimi is into girls.
Really?
Yes.
Despite how much the show really wants you to ship her with
Despite
Koshiro.
how much this show ships her with Koshiro, I'm like looking at her and the way she treats other girls, and I'm like, she wants to spend time with the girls. She's the one that texts Mako. Back in '02, she's the one that had that, Revolutionary Girl Utena moment with Yoli, although
Yep.
that was Yoli.
Yoli.
That was Yoli, but like, it was Mimi that spurred it.
Are you a... No, I was like, I want to say victim blaming, but it's not victim.
That's not victim blaming.
No, but it's like the same, like...
Yeah, wow.
That,
Yeah, like, okay.
fantasy was
it's
hoisted
not-
on her.
That wasn't Mimi's whatever, but like, she is
Hey,
definitely
that's
sending...
very Revolutionary Girl Utna.
I guess you could, like, she was sending signals that made Yoli think of Utna.
Yeah, totally. No, like, but also like, she was the one worried about Sora this time and Mako and,
But definitely, Sora was portrayed as the one who was, like, protecting Mako more.
because Sora was the one who was with Mako.
Yeah.
But
like,
they
that's
also
how
they also
that
chose
shook
to,
out.
like, leave, like, when they were like, okay, you take care of Mako when we get off the ship.
Right, because Biyomon was injured and unconscious.
Wait, okay, what, that, how, because she was injured, she was definitely, okay, because I rewound that a couple times because that's when Biyomon, like, I guess when Biyomon wakes up, whatever, and is like, has her turn. But the scene where she would have been injured is right before Sora saves her, which I was talking about before, and like her eyes are open and she like talks then, and then is suddenly like unconscious later. I'm just like, what? How? And maybe it's just their eyes are closed. Maybe they weren't. Maybe Biyomon wasn't actually unconscious, but their eyes definitely were closed for a couple of shots.
I have no
don't know,
idea.
Maybe a listener can confirm
That sounds very
we
confusing.
can't confirm now. And yeah, okay. Well, any more shippings?
No.
Genai X
No.
Machine
Can
Jabon?
I X the darkness? Unanswered questions. Where are the 02 kids?
Actually, don't ask that. You'll be disappeared. You'll be disappeared.
02.
They only exist in 02.
So Nyaramon had Kari's whistle on, right? For that made no sense.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah, that makes
the world was rebooted, but I mean that was in the last movie. Oh! I forgot to mention this. I meant to mention the shipping corner. I totally forgot. So in the last movie, we were introduced to the whistle. We were introduced to the whistle with Tokomon blowing it, which means that Tokomon and Nyaramon have indirectly kissed, and they're the Takaru and Hikari Digimon.
All
So
right,
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I like it.
But anyway, yeah, so the whistle, like, by the time, at some point, Naramon just isn't wearing it anymore, and then by the time their Salamon's, like, totally gone, and I'm like, where did the whistle go? They just lose the whistle?
Yeah. How is Sora not dead? Machine
How is she
Dramon.
fine? Yeah, right.
Machine Dramon slammed her against a mountain.
She should have many broken bones.
She should be dead.
But she just wants the meatballs. She just helps the meatballs happen.
Oh my god, there are a million ways in which that girl should be injured.
It's still not as stupid as jumping into ice cold water to distract
Right, you're right.
Metal
They should
Seedramon.
all be dead from something.
When did Mako get there? I'm really confused. This could just be like me forgetting what happened in the last movie, but like...
No, she only appeared, like, she just, like when Sora finds her in the desert, that's her introduction.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, so we didn't see her come into the digital world. She's just...
But we did hint that Daigo couldn't find her.
Right, but like then how did she get there?
Plot.
Yeah.
The plot dragged her.
That's what distortions really are. They're plot holes.
It's
true, though.
Why didn't they try to sleep in the trolley car? They were, like, sitting on a campfire outside.
They didn't turn up near the trolley car, I thought. I thought that was Meikumon in there and not them.
Right, Meikumon, but they were at the lake with the trolley car.
Are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
Wait, are you saying you don't think so or do think so?
No, I do think so.
Like, they're definitely...
I think so, too.
I'm pretty sure they don't go to it. I mean, I watched this first part of the movie on a trolley car just because I thought that's where they were. Was I wrong?
Maybe I'm wrong. I seem to be outvoted.
You watched it on a trolley car so you could still stream it. Don't lie to all of us.
Yeah, it's true. It's because they go above ground. The other ones don't go above ground. But there's that joke in the dub about how that trolley car comes from San Francisco. So, it's canon in the dub. Gen X
But all the trolley cars from San Francisco come from other places, so it's real hard.
Anyway, it's weird that, like, Mekumon was... Because I guess they couldn't have gone there because Mekumon was leaving there too, but, like... Did anyone else... I'm gonna put a screenshot. So I saw some people on Twitter complaining about when Taichi and Yamato are swimming, and Taichi doesn't wear his goggles. Which, like, why aren't you wearing goggles underwater?
Posted that too.
I'm pretty sure his goggles are destroyed when Machinedramon attacks. There's just this one shot that, like, shows an object on the ground, which I'm pretty sure is one of the lenses. I don't know what else it is.
I didn't know what that was.
I thought that was a bento box.
Oh.
Yeah. That doesn't look like a lens. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what it was.
It looks like a lens case for a camera, but not a lens.
Right, and, like, I don't think his goggles are round like that. I thought it was, like, it didn't make any sense, but yeah, a bento box makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's one of the bento boxes Sora brought.
Do the Digimon know the respectability politics of names in Japan, or do they not know their own names? This episode could not decide which one it was, and that's garbage.
Wait, so you're saying that, like, both of those questions they didn't know, and they changed their answers on?
At one point, Takaru is like, Patamon! And Patamon's like, oh, is that my name? Okay, I'm Patamon. But Gabumon is like, oh, do I call Yamato-kun? Do I say his name? And it's like, well, no, which one is it? Do you know that you're Gabumon? Or...
Wait, what? I'm so
I think those
confused.
are two different things.
Yeah, Ashley, I'm confused, because my understanding is that the Digimon don't know their names, which is weird, because that, like, in Adventure they totally did. But, like, that apparently that has changed. They don't know that. But also because they are from a Japanese internet digital space, whatever, they grow up with Japanese way of speaking, which includes Japanese customs for how to refer to people.
Yes.
Which, I don't say those two are related.
Because I feel like you should not be like, I don't know my own name when nobody else is giving you a name. But also I'm programmed to know respectability politics of Japan.
I seriously don't see how those are related.
All right, I'm not here to convince you.
I don't think you haven't. I don't see the line between them. Like, are you? Because, like, they don't have saying they don't have a concept of names, and saying it's weird that they would know the respect. Like, they would know how to refer.
I just said what is weird about it. I said it's weird that they are programmed to know respectability politics, but not their own names when there is no one in world normally. Like, there's not human people who walk up to them and are like, yes, your name is Patamon. Like, there's no... How else do they learn their name?
I think they knew their names before they evolved, is the thing. And the second after they evolved, TK was like, Patamon! And Patamon was like, oh, okay.
No, but, like, what doesn't make sense is that, like, how else would they learn the names of the new form if they just didn't know it intrinsically?
The way I explained that to myself was that, like, oh, he hadn't heard it. Like, it was literally the second after they evolved.
On the other hand, in Adventure, the second after they evolved, they introduced themselves with their new name.
Yes. So I think probably that knowledge was there in their heads, and they hadn't had the chance to access that yet.
Okay.
But see, actually, sure. I agree with you that it's weird that they don't know their own names. Although, on the other hand, now that we dig into this more and more, it's weird that they do know their own, like, it's weird that they evolve and they suddenly know their new name. Like, that's strange.
It's weird either way, but you have to pick one.
But I think that I don't see how that connects to knowing how to be, like, know formality in Japanese, referring to Japanese. Like, it's weird because they have a different set of, like, they don't have first and last name. They don't have surnames and family names. But then they know the mechanics of, like, referring to humans by their family names and surnames when Digimon don't have that system. Like, that is strange. I agree. But
I think you agree with me. I'm just going to go with it.
That's a good argument tactic. I think you agree with me. I think we got it. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Digimon was rebooted, right?
Yes.
To a point long in the past where Tapirmon, because, like, they say Bokumon, so I don't know if people are like, I'm worried if I say Tapirmon, people...
Bakumon.
Baku... Oh, so good.
You said Bokumon.
No, I did. Because, like, I keep trying to, like, I tell myself not to say Bakumon, which is me saying it with an A at the end instead of an O. But in practice, Bakumon and Bakumon sound identical. One of those is an A, one of those is an O.
Bakumon.
Bakuman, if people don't know, with an A, is a series about, it's a manga and anime series about writing manga for Shonen Jump. Sorry. Yeah, okay. They reboot to a time of the ancient past, but then somehow the Adventure Kid Digimon are just waiting in Fire Island, which the flashback we saw in Adventure when Homeostasis possesses Kari, shows that they were only sent to Fire Island, like at some point long into the digital world's history, right? So like, how did the reboot reset both of those things? And it doesn't make sense. It didn't reset them being sent to Fire Island. And also like, yeah, I didn't explain it well, but those are two very distinct chronological periods, which for some reason have now merged together.
Well, I mean, this reboot is garbage.
I have more concerns about the reboot, though.
Yeah.
Since everything was rebooted, doesn't this technically mean Rio can come back?
He's in a different universe. So I don't think so.
But if you think about it, all the things that happened to Rio outside of Tamers happened in the Adventure universe.
But
he's not from there.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
No, he's not.
Originally
He's
from the Adventure universe.
No, I mean, but he's not from the digital world in the Adventure universe.
Yeah, but someone else is.
Okay, well the anime series never cared about that, about Millennium Mon.
I don't care.
But wouldn't this be really, really bad?
It will be bad if the Adventure canon cared about Millennium Mon at all, and it doesn't. So I don't think it's a concern.
Who knows?
Well, my favorite part about them acknowledging the reboot in this movie was, I forget who it was, but they're like, oh no, the infection will still be here because Meicoomon wasn't rebooted. Like, that's the one thing we needed to reboot that we knew for sure, and it didn't happen. I was like, fail.
No, but like, that's the one thing the kids wanted out of the reboot. So the kids' objective, yeah. But they also cleared their Digimon of the infection, so at least they achieved that. And from the perspective of every other actor involved, I think that like, what they spot on the last movie is not anyone's real objective. So, yeah. Still remains to be seen what their objective was, because, like, the only objective I could see making sense for Gennai at this point, from what's been spelled out, is that he is trying to revive Myotismon.
Really?
Ash was like, what?
I mean...
No, I would have guessed it has something more to do with Piedmon, because that was his big rivalry thing.
Was what?
And now that he's flipped, yeah, Piedmon was the one who put that black ball in...
You mean in between Gennai and Piedmon?
Yeah.
Now I think about looking back at Myotismon is like minor compared to Piedmon, right? But...
like, strength-wise, yeah. But, I mean, being a decent villain-wise, Myotismon... clearly superior.
Like, the thing that Gennai sells out as being the reason for the reboot is to save Digimon who died in the human world. What prolific evil Digimon has died in the human world? Twice.
Okay. Twice.
Like, 3 times.
No.
Once, twice, 3 times a villain.
What are you saying no for, Andrew?
Well, if we're talking about...
the second time he didn't die in the human world.
Well, technically he died twice in the real world, but
okay, that's true.
The third time he dies in the digital... he dies in the digital world.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He dies in the, not either world.
No, he dies in the digital world,
I think.
Oh, you're totally right. I'm thinking about Oikawa.
Yeah.
I mean, he almost destroys all 3 worlds.
Yeah, but he dies in the digital world.
But like, how does he...
Yeah.
How does he die in the real world twice and then come back each time? I don't remember anything anymore. Who cares?
The second time he possessed Oikawa, and the first time I don't think he died all the way. Yeah, he just didn't die all the way.
Bats IDK.
Bats IDK.
That's what happens, right? He just like forms from bats, right? Like,
yeah, they just didn't do a good job.
Well, because he was killed by a woman then, and women never can defeat a Digimon for good. Okay, we kind of mentioned before, but I'm really frustrated. And it is an answer question of Tapirmon's death. Like, it looked like it was in the digital world, and that being the one.
Why do you keep saying it like Tapirmon?
As opposed to
Taper.
Well, they don't say it in this movie, since they just say Bakumon, so I haven't heard it in a while.
Well, okay, how I understood that is that the energy it took to turn the other Digimon into the 4 sovereigns took, like, it incorporated, what is he, Megadramon? Megadramon's dying body. So since his data got subsumed, like, I assume there just wasn't anything to reconstruct.
Okay, I take issue with that because, like, what they show happening is them already being formed and then just shooting beams at him.
Well, I think he was already starting to fall apart before that.
And they just want to get rid of the body, I guess. Clean up our mess. Like, Maki, you're not using this anymore, are you? But also be like, yeah, even if there is a plausible theory not spelled out by the narrative itself, and maybe that'll be explained, because that seems kind of critical to the whole reboot thing. I guess they don't need to explain it. All they need to say is what Daigo says, which is like, you're not going to be able to find a way to get him back. And that's it. I think you get away with just saying that. So. Okay, and now before we get into our terminal judgment of the movie, we put a call out in the last podcast and on social media for 3-word reviews of the movie. So we're going to go through a bunch of them.
I would like to note that for the reviews of Try Chapter 3, which I think people liked a lot more, there was so much more cursing in the reviews that we got that
Really?
like in the note. Yeah, in the note from the last thing, we were like, how do we replace these curse words but still insinuate the curse word and stuff? Like so many of them had the F word. Now, like, none of these have curse words in them. It's really funny.
Yeah, were they like, oh my god, my effing feels? Like, what were they?
I think so, yeah. Okay, fine. I'll open the doc again. Somebody said, "F this shit, f my feels." What the f? What the f? I'm fucking sobbing. You Himakawa. Those were the reviews from last night.
Okay, let's get started.
So from Adventure Heart 5 at Twitter. I assume that's Twitter.
I think these are almost all Twitter except for the bottom.
Okay. From Adventure Heart 5. I want more.
Also, you get that the 5 is an S. God, have you not deadmoused before?
God, have you not
No.
deadmoused? I like to think that's like a conversation with God. Like, God, have you not deadmoused?
Have you not deadmoused? So what are we doing? What's the canonical order when you didn't start?
Wait, it's just the ordering's the same. It's just a different starting position. Andrew should be next.
Okay, First Agent ARP said ending was.
I'm like, did you leave out a third word on purpose to just be like, that's how this movie felt? It was just...
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's the joke.
I was like, it's a 3-word review.
Jeff doesn't like when you don't obey him.
This movie was so subpar, couldn't even 3 words about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm next. Oh, right, okay.
I was like, oh, Jeff, you want to talk about the canonical order right now?
Chris McFeely said, enjoyed until evolutions.
Exclamation point, exclamation point. At Allison Maniac says, the past answered.
As great as Nate said, waste of time?
At Agumonger said no Garudamon why.
I wonder if is that saying, like, why is there no Garudamon? Or is it saying, no, Garudamon, why did you keep going? You should have stayed Garudamon.
I don't know.
Kike Naya 19 said, amazing.
Jeff, come on. Amazing. Come on. Get it. At the Sonic Geek says, haven't watched yet. Well, I hope you didn't listen to this.
Ember Moto says, lore was good.
That's weird. I mean, I think people still like that podcast. Don't know why it's a was in the past.
Oh, Jeffrey, shut up.
I make bad podcast jokes.
Some guy named at Tokujo said best opening scene.
Is, like, Tokujo, so, like, should everyone know Tokujo?
He's Diabjo.
Diabjomon?
Yeah.
I know, but the way you framed it, made it seem like it's like someone
Look,
like...
Tokujo is like super famous. If you don't know, just get out.
For a second, I was like, why do I get the hard ones? And then it's literally just 2 English words.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Okay, it's hard. Okay, Valuable Bison said, Toei, why though?
Orba Yunrei says, what no feels?
Smile Wolfie said too much digivolving.
At Torterracata said get wrecked, Mako.
Sam Krieger said, Joe tackled Genai.
Okay. Zach Manzuski says, exciting, surprising, saliva.
Ooh.
Gossip Chi says, Sora the Queen.
At Zosta Zumgas said, Myotismon is coming.
Dot Yawning said, marathon when complete, which I guess means like it's not worth watching aside from marathoning. But they also said, alternatively, that beginning, more.
Professor Jiggy says, kick Sora's heart.
Wojta Vemirovsky, I hope I said that somewhere close to right, said, really? Nothing Hikari?
Safers said, Mugen done justice.
But he didn't get to talk.
Yeah, but he was actually threatening.
You know, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, he was threatening. That's good, I guess. But like the two that they chose were like, I'm wondering, did they choose two Dark Masters because they planned to also use the other two later, or is it just like, well, we had to choose two. Now we're done with the Dark Masters for now, or for good. And that was it. We had Dark Masters because like they chose the two that had the least personality. They chose the two that would be the most easy to just not have talk. Like if they had Puppetmon not talking, it wouldn't have made any sense.
That's true.
You'd be like, it's just a puppet. What's it doing? Like, what? That would. Andy said, finally some backstory.
Yeah, but where are the 02 kids? May says, what about Tapirmon? What about Tapirmon?
He just ran off.
Yeah, he's fine. He's there. I mean, Maki may have strangled him, but like...
Okay, so now our Terminal Judgment segment, where this is our last chance to get any thoughts about this movie. So, any last thoughts?
It was meh.
It was just okay at best.
Whatever, y'all are haters.
Haters gonna
I liked it. It's just, it was really slow compared to the last three.
Okay,
Yeah.
I honestly have no recollection of the last one, so maybe you guys are right, but... I mean,
Astro,
I
you
had
rebooted?
fun. It was a nice...
No,
what?
I think Asher probably did not like the last one.
I mean, you would have to check whatever I said last time. I have no memory.
I really do need to at some point go back and listen to the old episodes. Anyway, back to this. My impression after first watching it was like, oh, fairly empty. The beginning was great. All the stuff with the baby Dijon was great. Everything else just like fell off the wall. Like it just declined, and at the end it was just like bleh, with the Digivolution stuff. And then I rewatched it, and like while I was watching, took notes of what I liked, what I didn't like, and I was like, there's a surprising number of things I like. And then while we were going over and talking about all of them, I'm like, a lot of these are not that important or that good or that like, especially like
Yeah, we wanted to tell you to shut up, but we didn't.
yeah, I can cut out the stuff that's boring, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess like when all the movies are out, I'll probably look back on this one as being a bridge, assuming the other ones are better, assuming the next two are better. I hope it's not like if 5 and 6 are this quality, I'd be pretty disappointed. But the last movie set people were so, I think like in the months since chapter 3 have been so praising of Tri in a way they did not see up until that point, really. People were like, well, I'm excited to see this because it seems to be doing with some more mature emotions and interesting dynamics. But after chapter 3, they were like, they really understand the characters. They really know I have lots of confidence in where the series is headed. And I'm worried that now people are like, yeah, trepidatiously excited. But we should lock in our MVPs, MVDs,
All
most
right.
valuable Digimon or most valuable Digidestined.
Joe.
Joe.
Who did like nothing in this movie. It was
He
great.
He
tackled
tackled
Genai.
Genai.
Yeah, it
whatever.
was worthless.
Actually,
Okay.
what's yours?
Taito, they're one person. Don't try to play.
I like it.
One person.
Were you just typing my name?
Maybe.
Yes, the MVP is me.
My MVP is. Yeah, and just for the record, these are not for any kind of fantasy draft stuff. It's just to pick a favorite character. Or we just thought it would be good to pick a favorite character to look back on, because like I look back, it's interesting to look back on them later and then be like, that's who I thought was my standout character. Huh, that's fascinating.
That's wrong, but that's cool. Cool, pass me.
I'm actually usually surprised by Past Me is like, I always assume that Past Me is really stupid, and then I've like learned so much since then. And then I listen to Past Me, I'm like, oh, Past Me's pretty smart. He's not as much of an idiot as I thought he was.
Maybe that just means you're actually still stupid.
Wow. Or I've declined. Anyway, my MVD is Maki. Just barely.
What?
Okay. Not in terms of like, oh, the actions she did in this episode were so great, but just in
I
terms
feel
of
like
like,
Jeff has made this argument to us before. Like with Maki too. He's like, Maki's my favorite character, but wait, guys, no, chill out. Like,
No, I don't think it was with Maki. I think it was. I think it was on an episode with Jacob Chapman because I remember being like making the argument that like, oh, it's not about the actions they made in this. It's not about like them being a nice person or anything. And I remember like I phrased it in a way that sounded really amateurish, and Jacob was like, yeah, of course. Like, and I was like, oh no, I feel stupid. But because it's not about
Jacob's
like
here to remind you that you're still stupid.
it's not about like, oh, the things that she did made her such a lovable character, but it's just like the things that I liked about this movie are getting the backstory about her and how seeing that side of her. And like, yeah, I guess like I'd also lean towards Daigo for the same reason, but like, Daigo wasn't the focus of that stuff. And I feel like everything else, like if I were to pick Joe, like any other character I would pick would just be for a single moment. If I picked Joe, it would be for tackling Jedi. If I picked, I don't know, Yokomon, it would be for eating meatballs and looking really cute while
If you
eating
pick
meatballs.
Taito, they did things consistently.
But yeah, so I mean, I struggled with this. My notes were just like Maki, just barely. So, ugh. But apparently, I'll still get chided for it.
No, it's a bad choice.
So before we went to in each of these terminal judgment segments for the movies from now on, I don't think we did it before, but for at least it makes sense for the last three movies. I think we should rank the movies and see how that changes over time. But before we get to that, we got a question from Ember Moto. I think it was on Twitter, asking us.
No, it was on the Flashcast page.
Oh yeah, so it was a comment on the Flashcast, and Ember Moto asked us, question for the Potages crew, since this is the weakest chapter so far, what changes would you have made to make it on par with the other chapters? I guess Ash,
First of
you
all,
don't have an answer because you think it was...
I liked it.
I disagree that it's the weakest chapter so far.
Yeah, like chapters 1 and 2 are so bad.
I agree that chapter 1 is definitely the weakest chapter so far.
Yeah.
What would I have changed? I feel like it's just trying to do too many things, and I wanted to do one thing well, not do a lot of things that are pandery that are meh.
I feel like the problem with correcting changes like this is that I think the movie had two types of problems, and both of them are hard to correct in a way. Like the two types of problems were either small execution details that I'm like, yeah, you should fix those, but like there's no proposal for an alternative idea that you could spell out that would be immune to those kind of execution details. So like you could be like, oh, this alternative idea would be so much better, but like they could still fail at the execution of it, and it wouldn't be any better of an actual final product. The other type of problem it had were just like big structural things, and so it's like the fact that they're able to digivolve so easily again. Like, sure, I like to change that, but like there's probably there might be a better like maybe they, in planning out the whole series of movies, decided they had to make some sacrifices in terms of decent plotting in this movie to make the plotting in the other movies better. That might be like, so looking at it from this perspective of like, how would I make just this movie better? I think it's really hard to say, because if I were to make this movie better, I probably wouldn't have had them digivolve, like, and like that could potentially make the other movies worse. We don't know what they are yet, so yeah.
I mean, it's like anything that's wrong with this movie stems from the other three movies not being stellar about anything to begin with. Like, it's all just compounding at this point.
I suppose, yeah. And I guess, like, I don't know, like the things that Chapter 3 I thought did so well, I don't know anything to even, like, emulate about that, because it was, like, it felt like such a fluke. Like, it happened to strike the right balance between focus on Takaru versus the others, Takaru and a little bit of Koshiro and the others. Like, everyone got their moments, but, like, it was also so much more introspective than most movies. Like, if all the other movies were that introspective, that would be kind of weird. Yeah, and I don't know. So, like, I mean, my first thought is, like, try to emulate Chapter 3 more, try to emulate what people liked about Chapter 3 more.
Just be Chapter 3.
But yeah, I don't think that's, like, a thing that could actually really, I don't think it's actually real practical advice. I guess in aggregate, it would just be, like, take lists of all the things that we hated, change those, replace them with things we loved.
So, the whole movie, just change.
Just cut out the parts we hated and play everything we loved twice.
Yeah.
So that'll do it.
It'll just be Taito scenes. Throw in a little Takaru and we're good.
Actually, there was more to life than Taito.
No, there's really not at this point.
I want the record to show that earlier today, Ashley asked me a question, which is, Jeff, what's the ship name of Taichi and Yamato?
Yeah, it's true.
Some Taito expert you are. Some Taito lover.
I don't have to be an expert
Some
in
Taito
their
lover.
name to ship them.
Yeah, you don't need to know their names, you just know their bodies.
Whoa!
Yes, exactly.
Now, let's finish Terminal Judgment by what are our rankings for the movies? Ashley, can you start off?
Yes. Chapter 3, the best. Chapter 2, because I liked Mimi and Joe. They had good issues. This chapter, because as I said, despite failing on almost every critical level, while I was watching it, I was like, this is okay. Then chapter 1, because there was no level on which I appreciated chapter 1. I watched it and was like, no, I'm bored. I hate you, Digimon. And I looked at it critically and I was like, no. That's my ranking.
Asher?
I was waiting for you to prompt me.
Oh.
Oh god. I mean, the problem here is that I have really, no memory of the other movies at this point.
So does anything make sense to you at this point? Or are you just like, yeah, whatever?
I mean, I remember the gist of it. Like, they're in the digital world now. Like, what's to remember? Alphamon was involved. I forget what he was trying to do. They are digivolving. Episode 1 was boring. So my rankings are actually, I'm going to trust you guys about chapter 3. It was probably good. I remember thinking it was much better than the first two. So I will go with chapter 3. I'm actually just gonna copy Ashley's rankings. Those all sound legit to me.
Wait, so you're still going to put chapter 3 highest?
Yeah.
Just based on trust?
I think I do remember liking it more than the other two previously. And I think if I have to look at chapter 4 critically, chapter 3 probably was better. Because chapter 4 was a mess. But chapter 4 I still enjoyed. But I kind of remember thinking parts of chapter 2 were enjoyable. I don't know.
It was the Joe movie.
It was the Joe. Oh, yeah. Okay, it was the Joe movie. Of course I'm putting it above 4.
Okay, so 3, 2, same 3, 2, 4, 1?
Yeah.
I like how the bar is like, I remember there being some moments I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note, but I constantly am at odds with I do naturally think this, but then I'm like, that doesn't seem right. The idea that there is a separate critical mode versus a normal mode, thinking critically versus just enjoying.
Yes.
There is a part of me that cannot not think critically anymore. Thanks high school and college, but
Thanks, school.
I also just sat down without anything to take notes on and just watched the movies after a long day of working at a nursing home, and enjoyed myself very much and wasn't thinking about how it could have been improved. I was just watching and being like, oh, I liked this. Oh, I liked that. There is definitely a critical mode for me.
But, okay, so, I'm just thinking, is not, I guess I just,
Are you?
I didn't turn it all the way off, no.
No, I'm just thinking that experience of just relaxing and watching. I guess I don't feel like that's any less valuable or less critical of an experience. If you come away from that experience of just relaxing and watching,
I think we're thinking of critical. I think we're thinking of critical in different ways.
I think in the end, your emotional experience is not, if not more important, then more what you're actually going to favor.
Yeah.
When you think about a movie, rather than whatever, you're yeah, it falls apart if you think about it at all.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
I guess what you're kind of saying is that you have a lean in mode versus a lean back mode.
Yeah.
But what I kind of feel is that sometimes that lean in mode is not some critics. I don't want to not pinpointing anyone specific. I'm just saying in general. I've seen more amateur critics, I think, do this where they're always in the lean in mode and then lose perspective of what it feels like to experience it from a lean out mode, which is how most people experience it. And then actually saying they don't think about the emotional experience and they're just nitpicking details. And then but then I also feel like if someone has a lean out experience or lean back experience and comes away from that with lots of issues, they still have had a critical experience.
We are definitely thinking of critical in different ways. Okay. What I basically mean when I say I did not watch this show in a critical mode, I was not watching this show for this podcast, basically. I mean, the reason I watched it was, yes, I was going to have to talk about it today, but when I sat down and watched it, I was just I'm just watching this show.
I think I've actually had, like, I mean, not with these episodes, but with the last chunk of Frontier episodes, I did something similar where I was doing it while studying Japanese. And so it was like this first time I'm not watching for the podcast, I'm just watching it while studying Japanese. And so I enjoyed it much more. And then I went back and watched it again for the podcast. But like, anyway.
That's why I feel like, Jeff, we've always been like, you take far too many notes. Like, you're definitely corrupting your just how you feel
Right.
level.
Okay, so sorry for the tangent. Andrew, what is your ranking?
2, 3, 4, 1.
Whoa.
Wait, is that
Somebody's
different?
different.
Oh, wait, too high.
3.
Whoa. I had to think about that. Two highest. Oh, huh. Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Because I like slice of life types of things.
Yeah, it was nice. I guess.
You don't even remember what it was, Asher. Don't lie.
Like, aside from the ending, it was the one that made me the least angry.
The ending. Oh,
Well,
wait.
the ending was rushed.
I was thinking you were thinking in terms of 02 characters.
The ending where Leomon died and we all forgot.
I think that you all forgot after reading those questions too. Like,
Oh yeah, totally. It's so insignificant.
oh boy, and it's been rebooted, so who cares?
When he comes back, it can be significant again.
And then die.
Nah. Jeff, what's your ranking?
My ranking is 3, 2, 1, 4. So
Whoa.
confession. Then
Whoa.
I mean,
One above 4?
I definitely
Ridiculous.
put one above 4. I mean, that's how I feel now. Like I guess like definitely thinking this is like how I feel now, not like, because if I were to, in a month or two rewatch all of them, I think I probably would in that watching think of 4 higher than 1, because I feel like knowing what already happens in 1 intimately and then rewatching all of them, I would like 4 better than 1. But like I feel like the experience I got out of 1 was a more like impactful experience than the experience I got out of this one. The experience I got out of this one felt like an empty, like, okay, I guess I'm just waiting for another movie now. Whereas 1 was like so much fondness with like Digimon coming back. Even though the movie itself was like super flawed and still had the really fun moments to it that I enjoyed at the time and look back on now and like, well, other movies did stuff like that better probably. But yeah.
Well, you're wrong, but okay.
I like how we all had different ones except for Ash and Ashley.
I mean, we're the Ashes. We're
Right.
I mean,
We're
yeah,
the same person.
It's
we're
it's
great.
completely determined by the first 2 letters of your name.
Yeah, and also it's not like we completely differ on 90% of all things.
Yeah. Yeah. Asher and I always have the same opinion about everything. Evidence.
Oh,
this podcast episode. Totally.
Okay, looking forward, here is where I want to talk about upcoming movies. So we are going to start mentioning the poster for Chapter 5. If you want to stay spoiler free on that, skip ahead to the next segment to recommendation articulation, or just stop listening. But you would miss out on so much of life and the outtakes probably. So the poster for Chapter 5 features Mako and Hikari along with what looks to be Ofanimon fall down mode and I think I wrote it down as May Crackier Mon.
Correct. That's what I was laughing at earlier. I was like, Jeff wrote May Crackier. Amazing.
May Zudomon. Looks like Zudomon to me without a shell. And
It's so hard.
being-
It's true. It does have
This
face.
picture
of
is
Zudomon.
really not great.
I mean, this picture is even like color and angle corrected to make it a little bit more legible. And yeah, I feel like whenever there are these crappy phone pictures of a movie screen before we get the actual high quality version, it's always hard to, especially with but yeah, definitely with Chapter 3, we couldn't tell with Chapter 4, sorry, we couldn't even tell like who the character. We didn't know that Tai and Matt were also in it. And like Bakuman and Taipirama we didn't see.
I'm excited for the 2 cat people to be featured in the movie.
Yeah, the two. I mean, there have been interesting parallels between them that have been completely unaddressed, which like maybe will get addressed now. But like also one of those parallels was they stay in their champion form. Which,
oh my god, I see the whistle.
Is the champion form thing even going to be a thing anymore? Also, where's his whistle?
It's in Hikari's hand.
Oh, it's hanging. They found it again. Cool.
Another parallel. Takaru crushes on both of them. Yeah, that's
not a thing actually.
Does Takaru crush on Mako?
Yeah, it's not a thing actually.
a joke.
Oh.
Actually,
Of
jokes
chapter.
don't
2?
spread fake news.
Not fake news, so whatever.
You're right, you aren't the news. That's what Trump would say. Yeah. Also, the title is in Japanese Kyosei, which people are translating as symbiosis.
Ooh.
Well, the kanji,
Well,
the
and by
kanji literally.
people, you mean Mark.
No, I've seen other people too, but like, the kanji literally mean living together. But like, if you look up in a dictionary, the meanings are symbiosis or union. And it is like in like medical and academic context or whatever, it is the like medical term for symbiosis, or not medical, but like biological, I guess is the field it's in. It's the biological term for symbiosis. But I don't know. I feel like, looking at, what is it? Reunion, determination, confession, loss, symbiosis. Like one of those is much more academic and scientific than the others. So I don't feel like that's the intent. And in Japanese, it's just a common word with common kanji, like that a fourth grader would know. So but union also is a weird translation too. So who knows what it's actually going to be called? But it could be like, the thing is, the two of them, Gatomon and Mekumon. Oh no, I'm confused. I was going to say they fused together in Cyber Sleuth to make that new Digimon, but that's not.
Isn't that
true.
not true?
Yeah, it's not true. What's the Digimon thinking of? The one that's Lady Devimon is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lady Devimon and Angelmon fused together to make a really cool new Digimon design, newish Digimon design. And that would be, I mean, especially Union. Like, are they going to do DNA or
Are they going to do the do?
Oh boy, I don't know. Also, I mean, Ophanimon fall down mode. It seems like if there's like a union or symbiosis between them, it's going to be a evil one,
right?
Which is also interesting. They don't look like they're fighting. They look like they're kind of like hugging their backs up against the other Digimon. I mean, yeah, and there must have been a date, right? I haven't seen the date yet.
There's no date.
No date? What?
As far as we know, there's no date.
What?
The date has not been leaked yet.
Everything that I was seeing was just like, we know that it's coming out in 2017. I'm like, that's reassuring.
Yeah, that's, I mean, especially since the way that so it'd be one thing if people haven't taken a picture of the date, but for them to, and like what they've done in all the other movies is at the end of, like, Ashley and I saw the first one in theaters, so we saw this in person. At the end of the movie, they'll have just the poster and the date for the next movie on screen. And that's usually how these are leaked until there's an official version. People just take a photo with their phone. And they've announced the date at the end of the first 3. To not announce a date at the end of the 4th one seems pretty concerning. I hope that that's not as damning as it initially sounds. Ooh, like that could mean that they aren't sure whether it'll be 3 months or 4 months, and it'll still just be 4 months. But it could also mean they're not sure if it'll be 6 or 7 months, and it is 8.
I would lean towards the latter.
Yeah, that would be. I think because up until this point, I was like, this series has had a pretty good momentum in terms of like tying into promotional campaigns, and like there's another big. It seems like the push for this movie has been pretty big with promotional stuff, and it's like, okay, and then for it to close out in 2 more movies, like they'll have kept it alive promotionally, like having marketing for like a good 2.5 years. But like if it extends any longer than that, I don't know. It seems like interest will wane. Anyone have thoughts about? Oh, one of the things I wrote down was Myodismon, and now that you all point out that he died in the digital world, yeah, this reboot wouldn't affect him. He should have already been reborn. Never mind. Alphamon, Jesmon. I'm thinking that Alphamon seems much more evil now since he was. Yggdrasil is also commonly tied to the Royal Knights, and Alphamon and Jesmon are both Royal Knights. But Alphamon is usually depicted in previous Digimon stuff as being the pretty loyal to the Royal Knights and Yggdrasil, whereas Jesmon is like a new design that was always hidden from the Royal Knights back when the past series came out. So I don't know.
I have to tell you that I don't care about any of these things.
Do you care about any of the questions?
What ridiculous twist would you like to see Rio appears? Just do it. Just do it. It'd be hilarious.
You would hate that so much.
I know, it'd be great.
we should mention that question was from Patreon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was from Patreon, Ultimate Level Patreon, Cool Surfer 36.
He goes by Marcus.
Marcus, right. Anyway, do I have any crazy twists? Asher and Andrew, do you have any crazy twists you want to see?
I don't like predicting things. I hate this section.
but
Asher's out.
No crazy twists?
No.
Something along the lines of the end of Young Hunters.
Like a crossover event?
Yeah, because it's like the 20th anniversary or something of the franchise.
That's assuming the 5th and 6th movie come out before the 25th anniversary.
I'm sure it's going to do that.
Yeah, if the 6th movie came out in 5 years, I think there'd be some serious problems. I mean, one of my hopes, I don't think it's that absurd though, but is that those goggles were Maki's, not Daigo's.
Oh.
That Daigo is like
that'd be fun.
structured as, like having a name similar to and like he visually looks like other goggles.
You know
and
that
stuff.
there's like no way that's gonna happen though, right?
But that'd be so cool. Like, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
like,
but it's not gonna happen.
like Maki, I also hope that she is redeemed and not just like she's super evil, but I don't know. I don't know. She's done lots at this point, but crazy hope. Oh, I just had one. Oh, I hope that somehow they reveal that this isn't the first reboot. That not that there's just been this one, but that like this is the 20th time these events have taken place, and that given what we know about reboots doesn't make any
You
sense.
hope that it's Haruhi's Endless 8.
No, not that we actually then see it for 20 episodes, but that like, I guess I think that one part of Haruhi where like they reveal that it's not the first time, it's the 3,000th time, whatever it is.
Yeah, they don't show it to you 3,000 times, only 8 times. Come on.
Anyway,
God.
but what we see of the reboot doesn't make any sense with that because it doesn't reboot events in the physical world, and there's no way it makes sense. But also probably wouldn't work that well. But yeah, time travel. To be time travel. Nah.
晴れの日ばかりじゃないからたまに
All right, now for recommendation articulation, where we plug things we want to hug and want you to hug. I am going to plug a manga, and I guess full disclaimer, it's published by the company I work for, so...
Jeff, do you ever read manga that's not published by the company you work for?
It's easier for me to read it, so... Anyway, it's called Solanine. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. Solanine?
Solanine?
Yeah, and it's basically... I think it's originally in Japanese 2 volumes, but the way Viz published it, it's in 1 collected volume. So it's not like a heavy series, it's hard to get invested in or anything like that. And it's really good. It's about basically like I guess you kind of call it slice of life, but it's basically about a girl's life living with her boyfriend. They're young 20-somethings, and like their experience having recently finished college and dealing with like she's at like a job that she doesn't like, and kind of stereotypical things that you'd expect of kids in their 20s. And he's in a band, and she kind of wants to be in a band too, and things like that. And it just handles it really well and has a really good grasp on that mindset. Like, I think I'd read that the manga was a couple years younger than that at the time and was like going through a similar state in his life, trying to figure out if he could be an artist full time while writing it. And it's just really well handled. Really good. Ashley? Andrew?
Which one?
I said Ashley the other way. I guess Ashley's next. Ashley.
Me? Okay.
Time
I'll
start.
recommend the children's book, The Great Gilly Hopkins, just because I read it recently and it was good. It's by the same author as Bridge to Terabithia, so you know what you're
really?
getting into.
Oh.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It'll make you cry.
Yes. Bridge to Terabithia was like very sad. This is like sad. Nobody dies. It's just sad because it's about a girl who's like a foster child, and basically she's like behaves badly because she's a foster child. Then she comes to really like the foster family that she's like with, who initially she really hated, but she like constantly schemes to try to get her real biological mother to like take her back. And so in the end that kind of works, but then she like doesn't, maybe that's not what she wanted. And it's sad. It gives you the feels. Like, the ending is, like, really no nonsense. And I was like, what? I did not expect this. This is a children's book. And then I realized it was by the same person as The Bridge to Terabithia. And I was like, oh. Wow, that's actually pretty tame. That was my roller coaster of emotions. It made me tear up. I was like, oh, God. Damn children's books being good.
And
so annoying.
And Asher is recommending a Yu-Gi-Oh card called Karibo.
No. I'm recommending an app. It's a cell phone game called Baiko. If you like word games, please get it. What you do is letter tiles fall from the top of the screen and pile up, and you gotta make words out of them, but also traps fall, and things explode, and things get frozen, and the letters, you can't see what they are, and you get weapons to help you. It's pretty great. And also get it so that I can have friends and can kick all your butts at it.
Oh.
Looks like it's just an Android app.
Ooh.
Oh, is it just Android? Sorry! Gotta have the right phone for this.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Throwing down.
Okay, Andrew.
Okay, so I'm gonna recommend something just to spite Jeff. I'm gonna recommend 1 Week Friends, since we have the theme of friendship and forgetting things. So this is a series from 2004 that involves...
What? Oh, you mean the manga, not the anime?
The anime is from 2004.
What?
I mean 2014.
He referred to
Jeff
19.
was like, I would not have watched it if it was from 2004. Let's be real.
And this is why...
You're sick?
Yeah. So basically there's this lonely girl and this guy tries to befriend her, and then he definitely wants to befriend her once he finds out that she loses certain memories after Sunday for some reason. So I'm not explaining this well, and I pretty much give up. But yes, friendship, memories, heartwarming, something.
Yeah. Andrew says it's despite me because I was not that impressed by it.
Jeff doesn't like slice of life.
Jeff just recommended a slice of life.
I don't like bad slice of life.
It's not
Oh.
bad.
No, it was just like, I don't know what I didn't like about it. I think it was one of the first, it was when I first started watching anime simulcast, maybe. And so I
Well, it's also really repetitive with the plot.
Yeah, I don't remember being bothered by that. I remember finding the execution not that visually interesting, maybe. But I think it was also early enough in my watching simulcast that I was swayed by a couple people saying it was great, and then be like, I need to watch this. And then I hadn't really gotten my sense of no, I don't really need to watch things I don't like that much. So I kept watching it even though I didn't like it that much.
Well, it's a very different slice of life from what Jeff recommended, which is more... Doesn't it have more drama?
I suppose. I mean, it's also older. It's 20-something-year-olds, so they're all murdering each other and stabbing each other and swearing, and there's none of that. They make a podcast actually about Digimon. It's just a mirror to my life. No, it's I guess it has more drama, but it's kind of just
But yeah, there is drama in this one, but it's mostly character driven. It's not plot based.
Yeah.
Ever.
体に地図なんかないけどだから自由どこへだって行ける君も
You can find the full show notes and comment thread for this episode at potages.com/T4.0. Jump into the comments to let us know what you thought about this episode. Like
whether your ships have sailed or sunk.
Both literally and metaphorically.
I'm thinking if we said anything controversial. Also, let us know your rankings for the movie so far. That'd be kind of cool to see other people's rankings. Anyway, you can also let us know your thoughts via social media, email, or with the Will thread, the Digimon subreddit there for this episode, or by
sinking to the bottom of the ocean and still rising with the power of your true feelings.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Good way to send feedback. You should also send us your most memorable quotes from this movie, so we can use them when printing buttons with our Try Chapter 4 artwork. Speaking of which,
our special Chapter 4 artwork with Sora, Taichi, and Yamato is by N4391. We'll have links in our show notes to their Tumblr, Pixiv, Twitter, and DeviantArt pages, so you can check out the rest of their great artwork. Isn't it cute?
Fuck yeah. This is made possible with your support on Patreon, including support from our champion Patramon, Diabjomon, the famous Tokujo on Twitter. If you don't know who he is,
infamous.
what are you? The infamous. All right.
I think that's actually, that should be a Patreon quirk, or not a Patreon quirk, a Patreon perk that we have to refer to them as being famous whenever they come up on the podcast.
All right. Chokito, Kai Lunamon, Kaiserwashi, Michael Penny, and Red from fellow Digimon podcast Breakfast with Digimon. Our ultimate Patramon, the Noob, Alvaro Crimson Mode, David Graumon, and Marcus. And our Mega Patramon, Sam Kruwagamon, who is on the Moncast, which is Pokemon and Digimon podcast. It's not what I wanted to say, but I said it. I fixed it.
Oh my god. I think you can't read a script without laughing.
It's facts. I can't talk without laughing, so... Just fish, yeah. And Sam would like you to check out his partner's Tumblr, purple-pixel.tumblr.com. You will find Animal Crossing drawings there. They will be cute. So do it.
If you want to support the show, check out our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can join our private group chat on Slack, where lately we've just been talking about Try. You can also get cool stuff like commentary tracks and behind-the-scene notes for $3 a month, a new sticker and button every month for $10 a month, ability to choose episode topics for $15 a month, some of which you heard in this episode, and a monthly Skype hangout with Jeff and Ashley for $25 a month. Ashley and I have already recorded the first commentary track on Attack on Titan episodes 1 through 4, which we will probably be posting on Patreon soon. We're waiting a bit while Try stuff's going on. But it was kind of fun to watch the first 4 episodes again. There's a lot about Attack on Titan, and I did not remember correctly.
Yeah, no, not. I was like, what?
There's a lot that I was like, this is a totally big unanswered question. Oh, no, that's answered. Okay. I can't remember what it was now.
Yep, see, it's still unanswered.
No. Oh no, it was like why they have cities outside the wall and in a slightly smaller wall. It's like because they're there explicitly to lure out the Titans, so they only have to protect the one town instead of the whole wall perimeter. I was like, that's actually smart.
That sounds terrible, actually.
Well, it's smart. It's smart for the people planning it, not for the people living there.
I don't want to talk about Attack on Titan. I want to talk about how you can find Poddigis on Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to keep up with the Digimons, hear about upcoming episodes and recordings, and get funny Digimon images and GIFs. You can find my disembodied Q on Tumblr at Asher Dashery. Ashley's on Twitter at
AshMcD00.
Jeff's on Twitter at
Phantom Cellist F. Wait, no, it's Drew Softman.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Great. Great. Andrew, where can we find you?
Well, nowhere. Because I've been rebooted.
I've taken over the account. I'm actually definitely Jeff. And what I said is where Andrew is.
You can find me at... What's the name of that place that just got hacked?
Cloudflare?
Yeah,
America?
Cloudflare,
You can
all
find
the
me
cloud.
You can find me on every site on Cloudflare.
Oh, I don't want to change my passwords if we're going to Japan. Oh my god, no. I don't want to change all my passwords.
Did Jeff seriously use my Twitter handle?
Stole it.
Yeah.
I hacked in and replaced it.
Yeah, I mean...
Your display name says the definition. Drew Softman, aka the definition.
Okay, you can find me at Asher Dashery on Twitter.
You won't find anything there.
Exactly.
What do you mean? I will find tweets from like 2013. Oh no, there's one from 2014. It's magic.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because you were still on there when we started the podcast for like a month.
Yeah.
For like a hot second.
Share the podcast with your friends who make you meatballs, and don't share the podcast with people who lick you when you don't want them to.
And join us sometime probably next week for more Frontier as we Duskmon and Sakakumon stuff, I think, is what happens there. Episodes
Yes.
20 through 29, I believe.
Yes.
Sounds right.
The timing for that is up in the air, so that might be happening. I don't know. I'm going to Japan for most of the week, so editing is kind of, who knows. I mean, there's a lot of variables. Bye.
Bye.
And remember, never stop digivolving.
限界な夢の後の何もない世の中じゃそうせんとしい思いも負けそうになるけどステージが代名詞だらけの頼りない翼でもきっと飛べるぜ Oh yeah 現代な夢の後のやるせない世の中じゃそう
Can I just comment that I love how, like, we're using the Japanese names except for Joe. Joe, we
it's
keep
still-
spelling as Joe.
Well, okay, it's still the same name.
Also, I mean, that's the official subtitling name scheme.
It's true, it is what it was in subtitles.
Oh, that's true. That's weird.
Also, in my notes,
Yeah.
I've done both. Though. I think when I think
I
about
switch
it,
all
I tried.
the time. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah,
I
it
tried to use the
doesn't
U, but then I forget. And like I thought in that note thing, I wrote the U, but apparently I wrote the E.
Or maybe Google corrected you. Does Google correct stuff
No.
in
Ew.
Google Docs?
Well, one thing I really hate, it's like, is that like because of the like dub versus sub antagonism in the fandom, whatever. That like if you were to shortening Takeru's name to TK would not be a like out of the question thing. But as soon as you do that, then it's like, oh, you're talking about the dub character. Like I was thinking about that while tweeting about Try, and I'm like, if I say TK, people are going to think I mean dub TK. And I wish there were a better way to, because writing Takeru, writing Yamato, writing Taichi, they're so long.
Yeah, and we also don't pronounce them right.
Sorry,
But,
I pronounced Yamato correctly. Yamato.
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 He's just tomato with a
Takeru.
Y.
Takeru. I like Takeru the best. He's better than Hikarai. Hikarai is just changing letters though. Hikari, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my roommate was insisting that it was Kairi, like Kingdom Hearts Kairi.
Well, honestly,
Yeah. It might as
They're
well
the same
be.
character, yeah.
I went last time.
Shit.
I don't mind going if you don't feel good, Andrew.
I don't know what to say.
How do you
Whatever.
feel? What does your heart say?
Yeah, what the?
My heart says I want to beat Ashley.
Oh.
Whoa.
I think the thing with predictions is that like if a prediction is made with solid evidence and that evidence turns out to be true or turns out to like pan out, that's great. But like a lot of people make predictions just throwing things in the dark. Like if I gloated after randomly jokingly guessing that Ken was Jedi, like I would like if I saw someone gloat about a prediction like that, I'd be frustrated because I'm like that wasn't based on any evidence.
The only other example I can think of is actually Final Fantasy 15, which is a really bad example because even the people that are named Nightlight are aligned with the light. So, whatever.
Wait, so who's the balancing light and dark in that?
I don't know. I don't know who's light and who's dark, and they're all wearing black, but they're the forces of light and death.
Are you playing Final
themes.
Fantasy 15? Ashley?
No, I don't own a system to play Final Fantasy 15 on. But
I'm not letting you play it.
yes, you are.
Why do you want to play it so bad?
I want to.
Because they're pretty boys.
I'm role playing a character
They're
from it
pretty
already.
boys.
No, it's because I'm role playing a character from it already.
Which character?
No, it's because
the
they're
baby
pretty
chocobo?
boys.
Of course. Would I play any other character?
Noctis?
No, I'm playing Prompto.
Oh, no.
Have you watched the anime?
Brotherhood? Yes.
Dude, I really hate his episode of the anime.
Why? Oh, okay.
The like
Yeah, I understand.
needing to get thin in order to make friends aspect
Yeah,
of it.
that was obnoxious.
Yeah.
But the rest of it was cute.
Yeah. Also, like the world. I mean, I guess it's because the game doesn't really go into the city that much ever. But like the world portrayed by those flashbacks in the anime is like it's literally just like Japan or just like Tokyo. And in the game, it's like there's nothing like Tokyo that you see in the entire game because I guess you don't really go inside the city at all. But it's weird.
Well, you do, but
I haven't finished the game. Is that a spoiler? Is like
kind of?
Is
I
it in
mean,
the
it's
last
not.
chapter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean,
The point I got to, the world kind of ended, so
yeah.
I assume it's
like,
different.
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, I think it was enough.
Alright, Jeff's just freaking out now.
Sorry, I just I was scrolling through my timeline and I found the you versus the burger she told you not to worry about tweet.
I get the hard
All right.
one.
Final Fan. Oh, that's you. Thank God.
Wait, why'd you say Final Fantasy?
Wait, what you gonna say about it though?
Well, that's a Final Fantasy name.
Isn't it?
Which
Wait,
Or about
actually,
Yun Fang is a Final Fantasy 12? 10-2. 10-2 character. Isn't she? No. Final Fantasy 12.
I played both of those, and I don't know who it is.
When I searched Urba, I found 13.
Oh,
So,
maybe.
yeah, it's 13. It's a...
Yeah, that's
didn't
what I
play
meant.
that
Oh,
one.
yeah, that's Fang's full name. I see. Also, Ashley, where is the one place you can ice skate in the city?
Yerba Buena.
How do you spell Yerba Buena?
With a Y.
Damn it.
With a
I thought I was
Y.
being really clever. Do you really?
I was like, what? Yeah, it's
do. Oh, damn it.
YERBABUENA.
Fine. Okay.
Cool. So it's Orba Yunre? Is that
I think so.
correct? Okay. Orba Yunre says, what no feels?
Wojta Wemirovsky, I hope I said that somewhere close to right, said, really? Nothing Hikari?
Yo, Hikari is really getting the shaft.
She always does.
So, like, the phrase "getting the shaft" or like "getting shafted," like,
Don't
where
make
does-
it sexual, Jeffrey.
Where does
Don't.
it? Where does it actually come from, though? Because, like, isn't it like? I think it is intrinsically.
Is
I think
Sexual?
it maybe.
Yeah, like I think
I'm
it does
checking it
come from
out.
that. Which, like, whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, this is really both vulgar and like homophobic. And
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Here's what I found.
do we want to look?
Yeah, is it safe?
Well, it's phrases.org.uk, I think. So
Phrases.org. UK.
actually, you okay? It wasn't that funny. Wait, okay. I don't know where I saw this. I'm probably gonna cut this out because I know it might be a listener. I don't want to insult a listener. But I saw it somewhere. Oh no, it wasn't a listener. It's okay. It was. I saw someone on Twitter, not a listener. I hope. I mean, someone who doesn't follow the podcast. Anyway, they were basically saying like their reaction after they finished watching the movie was like I think they're saying it wasn't good, but it was better than Chapter 2 because Chapter 2 had fan service, and they're like,
What?
Oh my
thank God there's no fan
goodness.
service. And I'm like, the fan service is all dudes. Like, are you that? Like, oh my, like I don't. I guess there are some people who like view that and they're like they view it as bad as fan service of girls. I guess.
I mean, chapter 2 was with Mimi, right? And there was some.
Yeah, chapter 2 is Mimi and Mako, and
I mean, like when they're in their
Cheerleaders.
cheerleader outfits, there's some. You're saying that could be some
Yeah.
fan service of them.
it was like blatant fan service. Yeah.
But I think the more blatant fan service was when the guys were naked. So
Well, sure.
I actually don't even remember that.
you don't remember the guys being naked?
You don't remember the
Wait, Ash,
onsen?
I'm actually considering going to onsen next week.
Have
By
fun.
yourself.
Yeah, and the fact that it's by myself is gonna be awkward. The other thing that's awkward is that like the scene in the movie where they have to pick out yukata to go in and like Koshiro can't pick or whatever. That's like an actual requirement. You can't go in normal clothes. You have to change into the yukatas. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But that part scares me. I know how to use an onsen. I don't know how to wear a.
Wait, have you been to something like one?
We went to onsen last time we were in Japan,
But not like the one in Tri.
right. That one's definitely like this is a like old style. It's like a little town in here, and you experience a festival while you're here. I'm like, okay.
But you're going specifically to that one, right?
I don't know how, like, if I want to go to an onsen. And I'm like, if I were to pick one, it should probably be the one from Digimon. And a monthly Skype hangout. And a monthly Skype. And a monthly Skype is a weird word. It's like
Jeff,
not-
revelation. Skype made up a word, and it's weird.
It's like, I'm like, Pia? Okay.
Share the podcast with your friends who make you meatballs, and don't share the podcast with people who lick you when you don't want them to. Just like Asuna.
In my mind, I combine the two sentences into like, don't share the podcast with people who lick your meatballs. And
Well, don't do that. That sounds not like that's not a friend you want to have.
or is it?
Unless you're into that thing.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you want them to lick you, that's fine.
I want you to lick me.
We are now a rated M podcast.
Okay. Oh my god. Sometimes I have the thought of like, could I just release it without editing? And then I'm like, no. And remember, never stop rebooting. No. And remember, never stop licking.
No.
And remember, never stop digivolving.
Acceptable.
Actually, please stop digivolving.
Yeah, actually, there were too many Digivolutions. Stop it. Nobody liked it.
And remember, please stop digivolving. Please don't digivolve that many times.
Or at least learn to make a warp
Too
digivolve
OP.
sequence again.
And remember, well, for the two like hyped up characters, they didn't have an actual sequence, right? They just like transformed, right? For War Greymon and Metal Grumon.
Oh.
I guess because they're saving that for one of the
Well, 'cause
last
they
movies, and then there'll be a big deal when they show it,
Oh.
which is weird.
Yeah, because it's not that good.
No, it's not that good.